The Palace Banquet, 10. Hearing Princess Zhang these 3 words, the Empress's beautiful almond-shaped eyes swept across Huang Beiyu. Seeing her, with a complicated expression on her face, she faintly nodded her head. Today is just a general banquet, there's not a lot of rules. When the Queen's eyes swept across her, Huang Beiyu also raised her head to welcome her gaze. In her memory, this Empress doesn't like Huang Beiyu. After the death of Princess Zhang, she have never saw the Empress. It seems like the Empress still doesn't like her. Her gaze was just a faint swept across, her cold gaze doesn't betray any emotions. There's no fear, respect, or hostility. Towards the Huang Beiyu now, this is just the first time she have met the Empress. She doesn't like Huang Beiyu, but she, Empress, have never hurt her. With her ordinary gaze, the Empress is slightly astonished. She thought that she must have seen wrong before. How can that weak Huang Beiyu use such a gaze to look at her? She can't help but glance at Huang Beiyu again. She found that the Huang Beiyu is still the same as the past. She looks sickly, as if a wind would be able to knock her down. She must have seen wrong. After such a big commotion by Princess Yingyi, everyone's eyes in Xiaoguang Hall turned their attention to Huang Beiyu. Some people point at her in a low voice. It turned out that she's Princess Beiyu. After so many years this is the first time I've seen her. Just by looking at her it doesn't seem like she's useless. But looking closely at her she looks similar to Princess Huiwenjiang. She's a beauty in a budding beauty. What's the point of being beautiful? To become so sick like that, I'm afraid that the big Princess Zhang prefecture will have someone else taking over it in the future. Such a pitiful thing. At this era, those who can't do martial arts can be only ridiculed by others. Princess Beiyu from the Princess Zhang prefecture is a waste, everyone in Linhuai city knows that. That year, how glorious Princess Zhang was. This daughter, she really make her lose face. Being talked about like that, Huang Beiyu felt somewhat unsatisfied. She who is the 21st century's genius killer, yet here people think she's waste. Before she can turn around to give them a glare, news arrived that the emperor is here. Everyone in Xiaoguang immediately stood up, one by one they kneeled down to greet the emperor. The emperor laughed as he walked in. As he walked he raised his hand and said, "Today you don't have to greet me, everyone rise." The females thanked the emperor. Huang Beiyu took this opportunity to look at the emperor. The memories and actually seeing the emperor with her own eyes is different. It's been a few short years that she haven't seen him. This Nai country's emperor is as not young and high-spirited as he was in her memories. Hardship have left a mark at the outer corner of his eyes. His face is still handsome, body is still big and tall. When he walks he is able to bring a gust of wind, brimming with prestige. Behind him, the handsome and cold Crown Prince Zhang Yi and a few ministers and duke followed. Huang Beiyu's eyes are very sharp. With just one glance she can see Prince Xiaoyao, Songmi, who is next to the Crown Prince. He wore an elegant black clothing. A faint smile could be seen at the corner of his mouth. With the arrival of the Crown Prince and Prince Xiaoyao, making the noble ladies in Xiaoguang Hall very moved, of course Xiao Yun is also one of them. The emperor went up to his dragon seat and sat down. He waved his sleeve and said, "Did all the guests arrive?" The eunuch next to him whispered, replying to your majesty, there is still Shi Tian Darren and Bei Yao country's 9th prince who didn't arrive. Provocation from the strong, 1-0. The emperor slightly narrowed his eyes, his expression is mysterious, worthy of being royalty. He showed no happiness or anger. Prince Xiaoyao went forward and said, reporting to the emperor. Recently, the 9th prince is seriously ill. So he can't come on time, I hope your majesty won't blame him. Feng Lianyi and Prince Xiaoyao are good friends, it is well known in Nanny country. With the status of Prince Xiaoyao, since he has already opened his mouth to please, the emperor have to give him face. He laughed. It's no bother. It's still early, I and everyone here will wait for the guests to arrive. Everyone shouted long live the emperor, and then the emperor bestows seats to the guest. Xiao Yuanqing with Xiao Zhongqi and Xiao Zhonglei took seats, when he saw the seat that Huang Beiyu is seating on. He coldly humphed and also saw Xiao Yun's face full of grievances, his heart full of fury. He said, Yun, what's the matter? Xiao Yun, who was full of grievances, said in a low voice, Yun knows that she's only a daughter of a concubine. Before I accidentally sat at sister's seat, who would have thought I would be scolded by the princess? Father, Yun really did it by accident. Xiao Yuanqing already have a belly of anger towards Huang Beiyu. Now that he heard this, he is even more angry. He glared at her harshly. Huang Beiyu play with the wine cup in her hand. She coldly shoot a glance at him, said, Emperor's son-in-law, right now it's the palace. It's a place with rules. You and I have different statuses. If the imperial censors sees you being disrespectful to me, be careful, they might look for you for trouble tomorrow. Xiao Yuancheng's body immediately fired up. He couldn't believe that this waste would say these kinds of words to him. He is her father. She actually dare bring out statuses and positions. Absurd. Ha! Huang Beiyu coldly turned her pupil to him, the corner of her lips display a mocking smile. Xiao Yuanqing is so angry that he's about to spit out blood. But in the palace, the emperor and the empress is here, how could he dare to be impudent? Xiao Yun, who was at the side, saw that her father also suffered a big loss. Her heart can't help but jump, an indescribable feeling of unease emerge. When Huang Beiyu saw that Xiao Yuanqing dared to become angry yet not say anything, she lowered her head and sneered, continuing to play with the wine cup. They deliberately speak in a low voice, so the people around them didn't find that anything was amiss. Crown Prince Zhangyi walked up next to Princess Yingyi and sat down. Princess Yingyi immediately said, Royal brother, this is Royal Auntie's Beiyu, do you still remember? Huang Beiyu lifted her hand and saw Princess Yingyi pointing her finger at her, talking to Zhangyi. Zhangyi coldly turned his head and glanced at her. There doesn't seem to be any change in expression. Since little, Huang Beiyu is a weak waist, which is different from his firm/unyielding temper. So he pays little attention to this Princess Beiyu. Separated for several years, when he saw her again, she still looked pale and sickly, only a pair of distinct black and white eyes which appears to be very clear. Out of courtesy and due to the respect to the deceased Princess Zhangyi said, I heard that your health isn't good, has it become better? The youngster's concern is cold, but the emotions aren't fake, it is merely that he always have this indifferent personality. Huang Beiyu's heart feel a little bit warm, nodded her head, it has gotten better, many thanks for the crown prince's concern. The voice is soft, but it sounded somewhat familiar. Zhangyi can't help but give her another glance. With this glance, he suddenly discovered that the young lady in front of his eyes looks beautiful with flesh of ice and bones of jade, wonderful red lips, her figure is petite and exquisite, temperament cold and clear, cold to the point that she is different from the Huang Beiyu in the past. Provocation from the strong, too. In the past, when Princess Zhang brought her to the palace, whenever that small girl saw him she would always bear a somewhat fearful and somewhat shy expression. If there is anger behind his words, it would frighten her enough for her to weep. However, the present Huang Beiyu actually dare lift her clear eyes and look at him face to face. There isn't the slightest bit of weakness of shyness from the past. Everyone says that a girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. It seems that after the death of Princess Zhang, she has slowly grew up and changed. Zhangyi doesn't know why, but his heart is somewhat happy. Beiyu, when your health is better, in the future come to the palace more often to walk around. These several years you haven't come to the palace, the Empress Dowager miss you very much. Princess Yingyi said sincerely. Huang Beiyu's impression of Princess Yingyi now is better than it was before. Although Yingyi is unruly and headstrong, she is straightforward, upholds justice and dares to do anything. People with honest temperaments, Huang Beiyu appreciates them. When she's about to nod, a eunuch ran in to report, "Your Majesty, Princey has arrived, Shi Tian Darren has also arrived." Xiao Guanghold suddenly fell silent. The emperor is overjoyed and stood up. With long strides he walked down and personally went out to greet him. It seems like all the countries value experts and talents. It is definitely true. Huang Beiyu noticed that in front of her, several people who are wearing magnificent garments. A group of elderly princes and aristocrats are seated together immediately catches people's eyes, each and every one of them sitting upright and still. Huang Beiyu is able to clearly distinguish the aura of experts. Although those people didn't emit aura of death, their manners belong to that of an expert. They couldn't hide it. It seems that they're all Nani country's experts. With that kind of imposing manners, their strength is probably above 8 stars. Listening to Xiao Yuanqing whisper to Xiao Yun, "Yun, your grandfather is over there. Later go over there and pay your respect to him." "I understand, father." Xiao Yun agreed immediately. Xiao Yuanqing happily said, "Since your grandfather have came to the palace banquet, it seems like he broke through to the rank of an 8-star summoner. Grandfather's summoned beast is Raging Inferno Leopard, that is a rank 12 spirit beast. With grandfather's current strength, if he fought against a 9-star summoner, it would be hard to know who would win or lose." Xiao Yuanqing nodded his head. That proud and arrogant look on his face made it seem as if he himself had become a 9-star summoner. Huang Beiyu's impression of the Xiao family's old man is not deep. That old man didn't like Xiao Yuanqing marrying Princess Zhang. Becoming the emperor's son-in-law and becoming a member of their family, making the Xiao family lose their face. So the relatives doesn't really like Huang Beiyu. Xiao family's old man lives in the Xiao family's main residence. For many years, Huang Beiyu didn't go there many times. Every time she went, she feared that old man's imposing aura, so she didn't dare look at him. So in reality, she doesn't know how Xiao family's old man is like. When her gaze circled once around the group of experts, she realized that an old man with long white hair and beard looked towards them. When he saw Xiao Yun, the expression on the face looked somewhat relieved. Xiao Yun's face immediately showed a smile. It seems that the white-haired old man is Xiao family's old man, Xiao Qiyuan. Xiao Qiyuan with the other experts turned their attention to the entrance of Xia Guanghou, waiting for the legend, Shi Tian who have the Ice One spirit bird of the 5-spirit beast. The emperor walked to the entrance, a few princes and ministers naturally followed. Several eunuchs carrying lanterns helped guide the path. Slowly, a petite figure whose whole body is shrouded in a black cloak entered their line of sight. Elegant and mysterious, proud and cold. Sure enough, it's just as the rumor says. Sir Shi Tian, Imperial we, waited a long time. Provocation from the strong, 3. Sir Shi Tian, we have been waiting for you for a while. A grand emperor of a country, cupping his hands and stooping to greet her. Thus it can be seen that he cherished people with talent and ability. Behind him, the imperial family, aristocrats, civil and military officials saw the emperor salute. How could they not follow? One after another, they bend their back to salute. Yet the mysterious Shi Tian Darren only slightly nodded her head. Proud, indeed proud. The emperor didn't become angry. With a joyous appearance, he invites Sir Shi Tian to come in. His seat is bestowed next to the crown prince and Princess Yingyi. Huang Beiyu let out a breath. Before she was worried that Dongling won't be able to act it out, now she can rest assured. After Dongling came in, Beiyao country's hostage prince, Feng Lianyi, came in. 2 eunuchs in the front held the lantern. He wore a chongpao that is creamy white. The collar and the cuff are both embroidered with silver silk with clouds that represent power and good fortune. A cyan-colored broad brocade is tied around his waist. His jet black hair was tied up. He wore a silver crown with precious jade embedded in it. The white cloud is just like a bright moon. In contrast, he is bright, clear, and handsome. He's gentle like a jade. The moment Huang Beiyu saw him, she blinked. Isn't that the mysterious man that appeared in Princess Zhang Prefecture's ancestral hall? Even she couldn't detect this expert. But the him today feels different from the him from the other time. The man from that day is handsome but have an evil aura. His expression was full of killing intent, a very dangerous man. However, the him today is a modest nobleman, as gentle as a jade. It seems like the people who wear a mask isn't just Huang Beiyu. When Feng Lianyi arrived, a few Nanny country's nobility got up one after another to greet him. His relationships with others are pretty good. He smiled as he walked to the seat next to Prince Xiaoyao. The 2 elegant and extraordinary men smiled and both sat down. I thought you won't come. Prince Xiaoyao whispered. I heard the ice spirit beast appeared, how can I not come and see it? Feng Lianyi lightly laughed as his gaze looked over there. However, he didn't look at the mysterious Shi Tiandarin who is hidden underneath the cloak. Instead, a weak pair of purple eyes looks directly at Huang Beiyu. In the midst of his eyes, there contains a shallow smiling expression. Huang Beiyu also coldly looked at him. In between them is open space. In the middle of the brilliant light, the 2 people who wore invisible masks sized each other up. Silent, but in their eyes, there is a clear understanding of each other's meaning. Feng Lianyi, Princess Beiyu, we meet again. Huang Beiyu, mind your own business, then your life will be long. This is her absolute warning. She is not as naive as these nobility of Nanny country, believing that he's actually a gentleman, elegant/graceful, an actual prince that's exiled from an enemy country. From the first time she met him, she knows that he's not someone who can be easily dealt with. It's just that at that time he didn't interfere with her business, so she didn't bother with him. If he dares provoke her, she won't be merciless. Feng Lianyi slightly raises his eyebrow. It's the same threat from last time. This cold and unfeeling person is truly interesting. Interest flashed within his eyes. However, he is still very sensible. He turned his gaze to the focus of everyone's attention, towards Shi Tian. The person hidden underneath the black cloak is exceptionally icy and arrogant, ignoring the eyes of everyone in the audience, completely uninvolved. The Crown Prince Zhang glanced at her. He knows that she has a proud and aloof temper, doesn't like to speak more than necessary, would only slightly nod her head to greet others. But Princess Yingyi humped and pouted, she said, pretending to be mysterious, still wearing the cloak in the palace. It's not like you can't show yourself. Provocation from the strong, for the gaze beneath the cloak seemed to glance at her, but she didn't speak. Huang Beiyu looked at Dongling with satisfaction. That's right, just like that, just deal with it coldly. Congratulations to your majesty to have gained the help of an expert. Our Nanny country will definitely rule the world in the future. Long live the emperor. Numerous government officials stood up to toast. The emperor was jubilant, raising the wine cup and drank it all in one mouthful. Then he made the palace maid fill it up again, turning his body to Dongling, being able to get your help, we are deeply honored. This cup I will drink in respect for you. Dongling stood up, raising the wine cup up with a hand from under the cloak. Using a sleeve to cover her face, she drank it in one gulp. The group of officials immediately sent praises. Good. Shi Tiandarin has a good capacity for liquor. Just drinking 1 cup and she has a good capacity for liquor. These officials' ability to flatter other people were quite good. They repeated flattering comments continuously, making the expressions of the experts sitting on the other side very ugly. Xiao Qiyuan stroked his beard and coldly humphed. The person next to him said, "Venerable Xiao, I heard that you recently went cultivating in seclusion. Presumably, you have already reached the realm of an 8-star summoner. Why don't you go up and try this Shi Tian, test her skills?" Xiao Qiyuan was an old fox. How could he be tricked so easily? He immediately stroked his beard and laughed. This old man is already old, why argue with the younger generation? The power of this Shi Tian had spread throughout Linhuai City. With the Isuan spirit bird, which was a super spirit beast, and the ability to kill a rank 11 red spider spirit beast in one shot, this kind of strength, he didn't dare go and look for trouble. Humph! Is Venerable Xiao afraid? That small child, her reputation has been spread around like a god, making you old foxes afraid. The other one had a ruddy complexion and was around 60 years old, yet he looked around his 30s. He coldly humphed. By mastering their summoning ability to a certain level, a person was able to maintain their youthful appearance forever. This man's appearance and age had such a huge disparity, one must know that he had almost reached 9-star high level. If Brother Sima has such confidence, then you can go up and try, Xiao Qiyuan said happily. Nonconformity was punished. When he cultivated, he didn't only cultivate his skills, he also cultivated his mind. Sima Gue Yen was indeed one of Nanyi country's very best experts. His strength was only second to the Crown Prince's teacher. It was a pity that his character was too impulsive, unable to calm himself. Moreover, this person was particularly proud and arrogant. He believed that he was the best in the world, not putting a lot of experts in his eyes. This Shi Tian who came out of nowhere recently was very popular. Being in the limelight, even the emperor personally set up the feast just to win her over. How could Sima Gue Yen be happy with that? Humph! This old man will go and test her out. Sima Gue Yen picked up the wine jug, took a big sip, crudely wiped his mouth clean, smashed the jug and stood up. His action was aggressive, immediately drawing the attention of others. Even the emperor who was happy turned to look at him. "What's the matter, Minister Sima?" The emperor asked with a smile. Sima Gue Yen was one of his most capable experts. So it was only natural for him to treat an expert in an amicable manner. Although he would occasionally be disrespectful, the emperor could not be bothered about it. Nowadays, the strong were always right. Holding his 2 large hands in a fist, Sima Gue Yen walked up and roughly said, "Your Majesty, today's palace banquet is a happy occasion, this minister wants to liven things up." Oh! Hearing that these arrogant summoners wanted to liven things up in the banquet, the emperor immediately beamed with joy. "Minister Sima, how do you want to liven things up?" Sima Gue Yen pointed his large hands at Dongling and said, "I want to challenge her." Provocation from the strong. 5. Once those words came out, the entire Xiaoguang hall became silent. Everyone's gaze turned towards Sima Gue Yen. This Sima Gue Yen liked to put himself in the limelight. As expected, he would challenge the newcomer, Shi Tian Darren Ah. In the past few years, every time an expert appeared in Nanny country, this Sima Gue Yen would always challenge them. His strength was strong enough, thus he basically never lost. People called him Nanyi country's undefeated general. While Huang Beiyu was in the Buji air market, she had heard of this person's name. Rumors had it that his strength would soon break through to 9 stars and enter the yellow stage. He would become Nanny country's first yellow stage expert in 50 years. The brute force from his body was quite frightening. His element attribute was lightning and he had a rank 11 lightning attribute spirit beast, raging 7-tailed dragon. In Nanny country, he was able to do whatever he desired. Although the raging seven-tailed dragon wasn't one of the 5 spirit beasts, the dragon race had always been one of the strongest spirit beasts. Within Nanny country, there were few spirit beasts that were able to stay arrogant and unyielding after seeing Crown Prince Zhangye's purple flame unicorn. But Gui Yan's raging seven-tailed dragon was one of them. Such a terrifying strength, she wasn't certain that she would win. But if it was Dongling, it was even harder to say. Huang Beiyu frowned. This Sima Gui Yan was sure hard to deal with. The emperor hesitated a little. In fact, he also really wanted to see the extent of Shi Tian's strength. However, it was slightly hard for him to do that because he hadn't grasped Shi Tian's personality. What if this Sima Gui Yan didn't know the severity of this and angered Shi Tian, leading to Shi Tian leaving Nanny country because of that? Then wasn't that a big loss? What should he do? Everyone else had already begun to discuss in a low voice. Gui Yan Darren and Shi Tian Darren, it will definitely be an incomparably wonderful battle. Who exactly is a little stronger? Shi Tian Darren has the Isolwan spirit bird but Gui Yan Darren is about to enter the yellow stage. The raging seven-tailed dragon also isn't easy to deal with. TSK, tonight's trip has been worthwhile. Hearing the numerous discussions around him, the emperor understood that this challenge was unavoidable. Secretly in his heart, he thought that Sima Gui Yan was acting too willful. Since it was impossible to stop halfway, if he didn't agree, it would make Gui Yan unhappy. He is very important to Nanny country. The Sima's challenge, The emperor stroked his beard, slowly looking towards Dongling. Does Sir Shi Tian accept? If Shi Tian refused, then Sima Gui Yan couldn't do anything about it. In the Cardi mainland, if one side declared a challenge, and the other side didn't accept, the challenger couldn't use force. This was ancient law and no one had ever broken it. However, if the other party didn't accept the challenge, he or she would be a laughingstock. Under the black cloak, strangely tranquil, the mysterious Shi Tian Darren was cold and quiet. One didn't know if she would agree. In fact, no one saw that under the cloak, Dongling was tightly clutching her hands together. She was so nervous that she didn't know what to do. That is Nanny country's most famous undefeated general, Sima Gui Yan. This kind of challenge, how could she dare accept? Wasn't that deliberately going up to throw away one's life? What should she do? Young miss, please quickly think of a solution. Dongling could now only hope that Huang Beiyu could quickly come up with a solution. Her strength was weak and she didn't have the blood of summoners. Her martial arts skill was also very ordinary. Provocation from the strong, 6, letting her pretend that Shi Tian was able to do it was within her means. However, if she had to actually handle this, it would be impossible. At this time, most of the discussions turned into encouragement towards Shi Tian to accept the challenge. The major families that were present, including the royal family, wanted to see the Shi Tian's ability with their own eyes. Even Xiao Yao Wang shook his fan. To Feng Lian he said, who do you think is more powerful? Feng Lian drank the wine in the cup. After hearing what was said, he faintly smiled. That is hard to say. When did you become so hesitant? How about we make a bet? If I win, then you will have to play 20 rounds of chess with me. How's that? There was a smile on Feng Lian's face as he said, what if I win? If you win, I will help you do one thing, anything. What do you think? Okay. Feng Lian paused and said, I bet on Shi Tian. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yao Wang laughed heartily. Folding his fan, okay, then I will bet on our Nanny country's undefeated general, Sima Gui Yan. After they had set their bet, everyone else followed suit. Princess Ingyi clapped her hands excitedly. Royal brother, who do you think will win? Crown Prince Zhangyi looked toward Shi Tian and said, Sir, Shi Tian hasn't accepted the challenge yet. With her cold and clear temperament, would she accept the challenge? Sima Guiyan's strength was quite strong. Even his teacher had said that Sima Guiyan wasn't someone to be trifled with. Even within the entire Cardi continent, he was considered strong. He was somewhat worried for Shi Tian since Sima Guiyan's raging seven-tailed dragon was very violent. Its combat style was ruthless and fierce. If she wasn't careful, the spirit beast might hurt her immensely. Shi Tian, you don't have to accept this challenge, Zhangyi quietly said. Royal brother, if she doesn't accept, then she'll lose all her face. You also don't want Shi Tian to lose face, right? Everyone wants to see their combat. Ingyi hurriedly said that because she really wanted to see Shi Tian's true abilities. In order to raise her eager mood, Princess Ingyi unexpectedly pulled Huang Beiyu's hand and asked, Beiyu, do you want to watch? Huang Beiyu glanced at Dongling, the corner of her mouth quirked up. Of course I want to watch. I am very happy to see the combat between Sir Shi Tian and Sir Guiyan. I believe it will be wonderful. Dongling's body was faintly shocked. What does young miss meant by saying this? Is it to tell her to accept the challenge? But how could she have the ability to battle with Sima Guiyan? Even though Sir Guiyan's dragon is very strong, Sir Shi Tian's Isilwan spirit bird is one of the 5 spirit beasts. Huang Beiyu said, tilting her head. Don't be afraid, Dongling. Just go, I will take care of everything. Since she had dared to make Dongling pretend to be Shi Tian, she had already thought about the various circumstances that might arise, including countermeasures. She wasn't the type that was bold but not very astute, making decisions randomly. Hearing what she had just said, Dongling's heart calmed. She knew that young miss said that because she had a plan. She no longer hesitated and stood up. The long black cloak covered her whole body, grim and austere. Seeing her stand up, Sima Guiyan's eyes lit up, laughing. Sir Shi Tian is a really straightforward person. The emperor smiled with satisfaction. Today's combat, good luck to you both. Since Shi Tian dared to accept the challenge, then it meant that she was living up to her reputation. These two people were both indispensable talents in Nanny country. The emperor didn't want to see either side getting injured. Servants quickly came out to clean the open area, which was used for performances. Provocation from the strong. 7. Sima Guiyan laughed loudly, slowly walking down the flight of stairs to reach the testing field. Dongling glanced at Huang Beiyu under her black cloak as Huang Beiyu curved her lips slightly into a smile. This expression allowed Dongling to rest assured as she began to walk calmly. Yen, you know what to do, right? In her heart, Huang Beiyu summoned Yen in the forbidden Blackwater prison. With a gasp, the nightmare's voice was filled with dark magic. Humph, if want me to help you, then you have to agree with my previous condition. I will think about it. Think of it as me giving you a step, you better go quickly. Otherwise, if I have to go up there myself, I won't even consider it. Humph, sneaky little girl. Yan's nose was gasping heavily, then he slowly backed away, blending into the darkness. Coming from the darkness, a low-pitched voice said, I need to borrow your black jade, inject all the vitality from your body into it. Huang Beiyu smiled lightly. With one hand holding the black jade tightly, she injected all her weak vitality from her body into it. The space inside the black jade expanded infinitely. When her vitality entered into the dark space of the black jade, it produced a large vortex. This large vortex rotated constantly, becoming bigger and bigger. Huang Beiyu's soul can clearly feel what was moving along the flow of energy and the vitality, flowing into the large whirlpool. The sound of Yan's laughs rang within her heart. I am so happy. So happy, aw. All these years, finally I can breathe in fresh air. Huang Beiyu laughed coldly. What are you proud of? The seal is not broken. You will still have to come back. One moment of freedom is still freedom. Those who have not been imprisoned by the darkness won't understand how warm the light is. Yan's laughter inside her heart slowly diminished. No one besides Huang Beiyu saw the small black gas go under the Dongling's black cloak. In the testing field, Sima Gue Yen looked at the petite figure at the opposite side. With some arrogance, he said, later on when I hurt you, don't cry, ah. A hoarse voice came from under the cloak, talk less nonsense. Ha ha ha. Sima Gue Yen loudly laughed and then he suddenly yelled, Raging Seven-Tailed Dragon, my friend, come out. Along with his voice, the peaceful sky suddenly flashed with thunder and lightning. A thunderbolt came over and flashed with a dazzling white light. A dragon surrounded by electric light emerged from the thunder. On the huge dragon's back were two small black wings. Its wings shook while thunder appeared every now and then. Different from the normal dragons, he had a total of 7 tails. Each one had dazzling lightning. Each tail looked like long whips that exploded with thunder when the dragon pumped them into the air. With an aggressive aura, the dragon flew down. When it reached the front of Sima Gue Yen flew onto the back of the violent 7-tailed dragon. He was the contract owner, so the thunder beams wouldn't be able to hurt him. Amazing. Dongling said in her mind while nervously holding her fists tight. I can't lose face for the young miss. Can't lose. A gust of coldness came from behind harshly. The giant Isolwan spirit bird flew down from the sky, its body formed of ice and snow. When the wings of ice opened, gusts of harsh wind appeared. The proud ice spirit bird raised its head, its tail feathers sweeping across. They almost swept the violent 7-tailed dragon down. Provocation from the strong, 8 thunderbolts and ice collided in the air. Ice began to form and their sharp thorns penetrated the thunder, stinging its way towards the belly of the raging 7-tailed dragon. The raging 7-tailed dragon obviously wasn't easily dealt with. It turned its huge body and immediately made its way towards the sky. Dongling wasn't slow. Looking at the huge body of the Isolwan spirit bird, she closed her eyes and rolled her body onto the bird. When she was young, Princess Zhang invited people over to teach her martial arts. She learned some self-defensive moves, too. That's why for all these years she could protect Huang Beiyu. The Isolwan spirit bird's body emitted freezing air, so when her hands touched it, she was immediately wounded by the extreme cold. She clenched her jaw, holding in the pain. Ice feathers flapping, the huge Isolwan spirit bird skyrocketed upwards, chasing the raging 7-tailed dragon once again in the air. Okay. Princess Ingyi hollered, so excited that her face turned red. This really was an exciting test. Huang Beiyu had some worries in her heart, thinking about the first time she touched the Isolwan spirit bird. When she first touched the Isolwan spirit bird, her palm had froze from the frigid air. Obviously, Dongling wouldn't feel well either. This battle needed to end quickly. Yen, stop stalling and give him a lesson. Isn't this easy? Just a 9-star summoner and a rank 11 spirit beast. Just as the voice fell, Prince Zhang suddenly stood up. Everyone gasped in unison. Huang Beiyu looked up, just in time to see the hands of Sima Gue Yen, who was on the raging 7-tailed dragon, quickly harden at an amazingly rapid speed. Worthy of being part of the generation of masters in the Nani country. A combination of a powerful master and spiritual beast was usually required to be able to exert this tremendous power. What about a spiritual beast without a powerful summoner? The same can't be said about them. Inescapable net. Go! Sima Gue Yen screamed. He quickly waved his hardened hands. The raging seven-tailed dragon simultaneously sprinkled a flash of lightning, thunder and light over one another, weaving them into a net. The huge light brightened up the dark night. Two nets, one on top and one on bottom, enveloped the Isolwan spirit's huge body within no time. Huang Beiyu's heart jumped. Of course, the power of a summoner and spiritual beast's cooperation formed a huge power. If it was just dealing with the raging seven-tailed dragon alone, the ice spirit bird would be able to easily smack it down from the sky. The sky was his field. However, with the addition of its summoner, that power was not the same anymore. The cooperation between a summoner and their spirit beast was nearly destined. This is Gue Yen Daren's skill, Inescapable net. Princess Yi whispered quietly, so powerful. Worthy of being called the unbeaten general of Nanyi country. That Shi Tian is a bit too weak. She and the Isolwan spirit bird had just recently made a contract. The experience of fighting together isn't that much, so how can she be Gue Yen Daren's opponent? However, forcing Gue Yen Daren to use the skill Inescapable net so quickly to fight, it seems that Shi Tian Daren and the Isolwan spirit bird are both very strong. Everyone began to murmur. Huang Beiyu coldly watched, lips sneering. Who won in the end, that was still to be determined. The icy smile on her lip, both cold and arrogant, fell into the eyes of Feng Lianyi. He had been paying attention to her, so when he saw that, he looked slightly shocked. Beautiful. How could he feel that a 12-year-old girl was so beautiful? So beautiful that she was touching and moving. It seems that you lost those 20 games, you can't run away from it. Provocation from the strong. 9. Xiao Yao Wang watched the scene in the air. Numerous lightning bolts flashed and the Isolwan spirit bird screamed angrily. Feng Lianyi smiled faintly, that may not be. This smile, it meant he was bound to win. Xiao Yao Wang raised his eyebrows slightly. You have a lot of confidence with that Shi Tian. That Shi Tian hasn't done anything yet. Feng Lianyi watched with confidence. From the start to the end, only the Isolwan spirit bird did the fighting. Shi Tian was on the back of the bird and did nothing. Xiao Yao Wang frowned, his folding fan clapped at his palm from time to time. Suddenly he said, not good, I have lost this time. His sentence had not finished yet, when the inescapable net that Simi Gue Yen had used lightning to create suddenly had black gas coming out of it in the sky. The black gas expanded at a rapid rate. In the blink of an eye, the flashing thunder was covered by the black gas. What? Sima Gue Yen said unbelievably, his face changing. The black gas slowly rose. Sima Gue Yen immediately yelled, retreat. The raging seven-tailed dragon also felt the strong pressure coming out of the black gas. The rank 11 spiritual beast's heart shook. Retreat, how easy could that be? From that powerful pressure, even the ability to move was lost. Sima Gue Yan's entire face turned pale. The people below didn't understand why Sima Gue Yan Daren's violent seven-tailed dragon stopped moving all of a sudden. Was it because they were bound to win? Only Sima Gue Yan's heart was clear on what was happening. He had probably met the strongest opponent in his life. The black gas spread and the lightning was swallowed by the gas, bit by bit. The inescapable net was broken in an instant. After that, the ice blade mixed with black gas suddenly surged out. Sima Gue Yen yelled no in his heart, his face ghastly pale. During the time of crisis, they could only fight using all the power in their body, driving the raging seven-tailed dragon to dodge to the side. Under the powerful pressure, the raging seven-tailed dragon had already lost all its power. Because it suddenly dodged, its huge body rolled a few laps in the sky before crashing down. Underneath it was Xiaoguang Hall, where the guests were gathered. Everyone saw the raging seven-tailed dragon slammed into the thunder. Seeing this, the guests were frightened and fled. When ordinary people touched the thunder, they probably would have immediately burned into ashes. The speed at which the raging seven-tailed dragon was falling down was rapid and headed straight for the center seats designated for the people of Princess Zhang's prefecture. Huang Beiyu looked up and suddenly screamed in her heart, "Damn it! What in the world were they doing?" The timid Xiao Ling and Xiao Rou immediately started to scream. "Master! I'm coming to save you!" The voice of the Aisalwan spirit bird shouted anxiously in her heart. Then the huge bird turned around in the sky, desperately throwing itself. The gust of wind from the wings of the bird blew the Xiaoguan Hall into a huge mess. At the same moment, a cold voice exclaimed lowly, "Yen, come out." Huang Beiyu helplessly looked around, getting ready to leave. She was very confident in her speed, but she had no time to act before a pair of strong arms grabbed her, immediately heading towards the sky. "Sky Snow Cat, come out!" Xiaoyun also yelled, summoning her own ice-attributed beast. Miao Wu, the white-haired cat, suddenly appeared and the big tail swept back. He swept the Xiao family along with the others to the back. Then the cat slammed the raging seven-tailed dragon onto the ground. Provocation from the strong, 10, the enormous raging seven-tailed dragon heavily smashed to the ground. Sima Ji Yen was dizzy, his eyes dimming because of the fall. Standing up, he promptly restrained the thunder rays from the dragon's body to avoid injuring others. When the Aisalwan spirit bird dived down to save Huang Beiyu and saw that she was saved by Zhang Yi, it flapped its wings and took to the sky once again. The panic didn't bring about any casualties. After the shock, the emperor immediately opened his mouth to ask, "Sima Qing, are you all right?" His tone still carried quite a bit of shock. No one would have thought that Nanny country's undefeated general, Sima Guiyan, would unexpectedly lose so miserably. Even people with spirit beasts had been beaten down from the sky to the ground. Sima Guiyan knelt on the ground, lowering his head, big beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. This was all forced out because of the immense pressure from the black gas. "This servant is fine." Sima Guiyan shook his head with disappointment. After quite a while did he raise his head. He faced the person in the black cloak on the back of Aisalwan's spirit bird and said, "I lost." The person under the black cloak didn't say anything, faintly waved her hand without saying a word. Confidently and at ease, she urged the Aisalwan spirit bird to leave. Sir Shi Tian, the emperor wanted to urge him to stay, but the speed of the Aisalwan spirit bird was fast. He just started talking when that white-as-snow shadow was already gone. The emperor couldn't help but be disappointed. Huang Beiyu secretly worried that Dong Ling had left so fast was because of the extreme cold from the Aisalwan spirit bird's body harmed her. This time, Zhang Yi saved her, which was a big surprise to her. In her memories, Crown Prince Zhang Yi and Huang Beiyu hardly had any close friendship. She didn't know that Zhang Yi had did it subconsciously. Seeing that her thin and weak silhouette was on the verge of being hit by the falling raging seven-tailed dragon, he didn't even hesitate to summon the purple fire unicorn in order to save her. Maybe it was because she was the only child that his royal aunt had left in this world, that was what Zhang Yi had said to himself to justify his action. But this action of his made many people in Xiaoguang Hall raise their eyebrows in surprise. Xiao Ling was so angry that she stomped her foot the moment it happened. She was right next to Huang Beiyu, however, the crown prince only saved Huang Beiyu. He didn't see her at all. Xiaoyun also coldly humphed, her heart suddenly wished that the raging seven-tailed dragon had fallen down and smashed Huang Beiyu to death. Why would the Crown Prince only save that waste? Only the Crown Prince himself would know the answer to that question. The purple fire unicorn landed on the ground. Jean Yi quietly whispered, "I apologize." After that, he wrapped one hand around her waist. While holding her, they both jumped down. Only when they stood steadily on the ground did he let her go. A feeling of warmth flowed into her heart. Huang Beiyu understood in her heart. Crown Prince Jean Yi thought that she didn't know martial arts and that her body was weak. Therefore, he immediately summoned the purple fire unicorn to save her. It doesn't matter if this action stemmed from family love because of Princess Zhang or if he just simply sympathized with her. In her heart, towards this cold and handsome youngster he scored a perfect 100. The youngest 9-star summoner in the Cardi continent, Nani country's respected crown prince. This youngster's strength, appearance, and his heart, she incomparably admired. After he set Huang Beiyu down, he walked towards the emperor and empress without saying a word. Staring at his back, the corners of her lips curved up into a little smile. The crown prince only saved you because you were nearby, don't think too much into it. Xiao Yun said with a sour taste in her mouth. A fool, no one would sacrifice their lives in vain. Lingyang College, 1, Huang Beiyu smiled slightly. Her eyes swept across Xiao Yun's face, which was beautiful but led her to hate it. The one who was rescued was me, why do you care so much? You, Xiao Yun was speechless. The Huang Beiyu from before would never dare to speak to her in such a way. Now, this girl is becoming more and more arrogant. Her original intention was to teach Huang Beiyu a lesson while everyone was in chaos. However, from her peripheral vision, she saw Xiao Yao Wang and Bei Yao country's 9th prince heading towards here. She hurriedly arranged her appearance and stood up straight. Holding the fluorescent ice feathers in her hand followed by the rank 4 spiritual beast, Sky Snow Cat. The match between the person and the beast was very eye-catching. Some noble ladies stared at the pair enviously. Xiao Yun recalled concubine Shue's words. Xiao Yao Wang would help her because of Princess Zhang's face. Therefore, she quickly grasped Huang Beiyu's hands and her language was soft. Third sister, did that scared you? Are you hurt anywhere? Huang Beiyu had an arrogant personality, she doesn't like interacting with other people. When Xiao Yun suddenly grasped her hands, she immediately rejected her hands harshly, brushing her hands off. Due to the huge movement, Xiao Yun wasn't prepared and suddenly fell backward. If not for Xiao Yao Wang who was walking past coincidentally and held her, she would have fallen and made a fool out of herself in front of everyone. Huang Beiyu's actions led everyone to gasp. No one ever knew that waste in Princess Zhang's prefecture was so fierce. Even if she didn't appreciate her sister's concern, no one expected her to push Xiao Yun. Xiao Yuanqing was holding in a stomach of unhappiness. He was afraid to release it on Huang Beiyu. Snatching the right opportunity, he angrily stated, "Beiyu, your sister was just asking how you were. What's that attitude right there?" Huang Beiyu, as usual, didn't care about what other people thought about her. Once hearing this, she coldly laughed, however, the sound was still soft and innocent like a girl. I was almost crushed to death by the huge dragon. Father doesn't care yet when I just happened to push the second sister one time. Father is that angry? Calling him father is due to the fact that Huang Beiyu and him are blood related. Plus there is a huge audience, he doesn't want to give her face. Very good. Then he better put his face away. This caused everyone to shift their attention away from Xiao Yun and instead focused on Xiao Yuanqing. Some people began to point around and discuss. Already heard from before that the days Princess Beiyu spent in Princess Zhang's prefecture was worse than a servant. That seems to be the case. The daughter that Xiao Yuanqing dislike is just this one. Once Princess Zhang had passed, she left a weak child with a father that doesn't love her. How heartbreaking. Ah! Xiao Yuancheng's face wasn't looking good. In the voices of discussion, he felt a bit guilty. It wasn't like he didn't know how Bei Yu was treated. No, actually it should be restated as under his silent wish that everything was happening. He never looked at her as his daughter. He was so angry that his body shook. He was brainwashed and raised his hands, slapping her in front of the audience. Huang Bei Yu looked up, one hand already raising, and caught Xiao Yuancheng's wrist. Emperor's brother-in-law, this is the palace. The gentle voice of the young man sounded cold and thorough. Feng Lianyi's light purple eyes gently looked over Xiao Yuancheng, exposing the coldness in his eyes. Xiao Yuancheng was secretly scared. Beiyao country's 9th prince was known for his broad knowledge, famous for his gentleness. Yet, suddenly his gaze felt like he was going to hell. Ah! Lingyang College, 2, Xiao Yuancheng deeply quivered. The quivering awakens his mind. Suddenly, lingering fear hit him. He realized that this is in the palace. Ah! If he really did hit Huang Bei Yu and the emperor knows of it, then he will. Xiao Yuancheng was so scared that his legs had gone a little soft. He realized that being at home and being in the palace is different. Seeing that both his hands and legs had gone soft, Feng Lianyi let go of his hand. Stepping back, he smiled faintly at Huang Bei Yu. Princess Bei Yu was probably startled before. Is that why she accidentally pushed the second young miss? Huang Bei Yu saw all his actions in her eyes. If it's anyone else, she would be grateful. But towards this Beiyao country's 9th prince, she isn't able to feel any gratitude. If he didn't help her, Xiao Yuancheng still won't be able to hit her. Inside her heart, she understood that Feng Lianyi wanted to help her. He also especially gave her a path out. In today's situation, everyone's sympathy is already on her side. That Xiao Yuancheng is a brainless idiot. He shouted, made a ruckus, and wanted to hit her. She is the daughter of the main wife in Princess Zhang's prefecture. Ah! However, he is a father who doesn't care about her life and death. Instead, he yelled at her and hits her. This is what everyone had witnessed. If she admitted that she accidentally pushed Xiao Yun because she was too startled, then from now on, Princess Bei Yu will receive sympathy from everyone from Nanny country. If it had been the previous Huang Bei Yu, she might have needed this kind of sympathy. But now it's her. She never needed any kind of sympathy. Seeing Feng Lianyi's pair of dreamlike light purple eyes, Huang Bei Yu just coldly said, I just don't like other people touching me. The tip of Feng Lianyi's eyebrows raised. The corner of his smile gradually deepened. Sure enough, she is a child with high self-esteem. Not allowing other people's sympathy and pity to trample on arrogance. This arrogant and cold little girl, she is becoming more and more interesting. When Xiao Yun heard Huang Bei Yu say this, her heart immediately rejoiced. She is really a fool. In a situation like this, she really doesn't know how to take advantage of this opportunity. You deserve it. Your entire lifetime, you will be rubbish. Thinking, Xiao Yun pretended to look really wronged. Choking with sobs, she got up. Because Xiao Yao Wang had reached out to help her before so she didn't fall down. Due to this, she seized this opportunity to approach Xiao Yao Wang. She put on a face which is cute and helpless looking. Second little sister, no matter what, second older sister is very concerned about you. As long as you didn't get hurt, then I'm relieved. Huang Bei Yu glanced at her, her mouth twitching. These two father and daughter pair, one is a brainless fool and the other one is an actor. When are they going to finish? Too lazy to care, she turned her body, wanting to leave. Behind her, a clear voice with a smiling expression sounded. You, Xiao Yaowang gently pushed Xiao Yun away. He originally only saved her because of good intentions. But it doesn't mean that he'll provide free hugs or allowed her to rely on him or even talk to him about her life. The folding fan in his hand opened. He didn't look at Xiao Yun, who was trying hard to squeeze tears out of her eyes. Instead, he walked towards Huang Beiyu. Is she familiar with him? Huang Beiyu turned around and looked at him. What advice/comments does Xiao Yaowang have? Advice? Xiao Yaowang laughed. When you were little, your mother said that she would betroth you to me. However, when I came back from Shirong country, you became betrothed to that young fellow Shui. Oh, it made me feel deeply hurt. The corner of her mouth twitched. What kind of mess is this? In the memories, Huang Beiyu and Xiao Yaowang didn't meet many times. When she was really young, Xiao Yaowang began to travel the world. The only time he returned was at Princess Zhang's funeral. Lingyang College, 3. At that time Huang Beiyu was too young, also too timid and weak. She only knew how to cry. They didn't know what Xiao Yaowang said to her. But one thing for sure, Huang Beiyu and him aren't close. The look on her face was always cold. To his teasing, there was no surprise, anger, or shyness that girls should have. Xiao Yaowang couldn't help but be depressed. Is he that unappealing now? Your body isn't that strong, probably because of the lack of exercise from childhood. I think you have reached the age to go to school now. Do you want to go to Lingyang College? Lingyang College. This name was no stranger to Huang Beiyu. At Nanny country, this can be said to be the most well-known school. All over the country, those with strength and ability, all could enter the college to study. The college had specially set up courses for summoners, warriors, refining pharmacists, illusionists, etc. Generally, as long as they passed the assessments, they are accepted by Lingyang College. The status of the Lingyang College in Nanny country is right after the status of the royal family. It is above major families, and inside the college, there are numerous masters. It is a very important place in Nanny country. Every year, the country will put a huge amount of money into the college. Therefore, every time when it's time for admissions assessments to be made, there will be students from all over the country coming to attend this. As long as they can enter Lingyang College, they most likely don't have to spend money and are able to get a very good career in the future. This is simply every young person's dream. What? Huang Beiyu is a waste. How is she able to get into Lingyang College? Xiaoling, who stood at the side, started to yell and point at Huang Beiyu, not even disguising the hatred and disgust. How can that waste be qualified to go to Lingyang College? Only talented people can enter there. Xiao Yun and Xiao Zhongqi were both students there. This year, Xiao Zhonglei and Xiao Rou can also enter the college as warriors. It's just that Xiaoling isn't able to enter because she doesn't even have the ability to become a warrior. She is around the same as Huang Beiyu. She thought that since Huang Beiyu is at the bottom, she wouldn't be counted as waste. However, even this waste is able to get into Lingyang College. Inside her heart, she doesn't feel good now. Xiao Yuanqing sternly shouted, "Shut up." Before, Feng Lianyi had stopped him from making a mistake. Now, he's awake. Who is Xiao Yaowang? He is one of the best pharmacists. His status, whichever country he walks to, is a noble existence. Offending him is worse than getting the emperor mad. Xiaoling is impulsive, trying to question Xiao Yaowang's decision. Does she not want her life? Father, what I'm saying is right, even I'm not qualified for Lingyang College. Xiaoling was still mad, harshly glaring at Huang Beiyu. Qualification. The gentle Xiao Yao Wang suddenly spoke coldly. The smile on his handsome face turned gloomy. She isn't qualified. Do you think you are then? Who taught you to be rude and disrespectful? Xiao Yao Wang, please forgive us. Xiao Yuancheng's forehead suddenly dripped down sweat and his face was pale. He quickly pressed Xiao Ling's knees down. This little girl doesn't know what she is saying. It's me who hasn't taught her the well. Xiao Yuancheng was a Fuma. His official position in the military was a Duwei. In front of Xiao Yao Wang, his status is smaller than his. Xiao Fuma knows the way to teach your daughter awe. Xiao Yao Wang purposefully spoke slowly and sarcastically. Lingyang College, 4th. Xiao Yuancheng's forehead was filled with sweat. In his heart, he wanted to strangle his useless and ignorant daughter, Xiao Ling, to death. Stupid girl. She only knows how to cause him trouble. Xiao Ling still had no idea how she was wrong. Huang Beiyu was the waste, but why is it all of a sudden that everyone began to take her side? First, it was concubine Shui and Xiao Yun. Okay, fine. Just now His Royal Highness saved her, and Nanny Country's 9th prince as well. Even Xiao Yao Wang is taking her side. How come a waste has such good luck? Xiao Ling clenched her teeth harshly. She can't swallow down this breath. In Xiao Yao Wang's heart, he was very angry. All these years he had been traveling and haven't returned. Occasionally he heard about the events in Princess Zhang's prefecture and knew that Huang Beiyu is a weak and sick child. He thought that even if Huang Beiyu was gentle and couldn't practice martial arts, due to her status she would be able to live a carefree life. However, today after returning to Nanny Country, he had gradually heard about the news that Xiao Yuancheng's many concubines were very overbearing. Even the concubines' daughters would run rampant. In this type of home, how was Beiyu's life like? He thought that during today's palace banquet, he might be able to see the child that he used to worry about. Just a while ago he saw that she was sick, but her eyes were determined and her expression strong. Due to that, he felt a little better. But right now Xiao Ling dared to humiliate her in front of an audience and called a waste. How could he not be angry? So she actually hasn't been living well. So he's the one who thought that everything was too simple. Before he promised Princess Zhang to take care of her child, but all these years he left the child among a group of monsters. Looking towards Huang Beiyu, his eyes were pained. Due to the movement, it also brought the Emperor and the Empress's attention over here. The Emperor, accompanied with Princess Yingyi and His Royal Highness, made their way here. What happened? The Emperor walked closer, looking at Xiao Yuancheng, who pushed his daughter to kneel on the ground. His expression shocked. Your Majesty, it's this minister that hasn't taught his daughter well that she would talk against Xiao Yao Wang. Xiao Yuancheng hurriedly explained. He was mumbling to himself in his heart that he was quite unlucky today. If he knew what would have happened, he would never have brought Xiao Ling here. Not only did he offend Xiao Yao Wang, even the Emperor is unhappy. Originally the Emperor was already unhappy with Xiao Yuancheng, who was only a warrior. Now he dared to offend Xiao Yao Wang, the one person he respected the most. Immediately, he became upset. Xiao Yao Wang didn't continue to pursue. Instead, he opened his folded fan and restored the elegant smile. It's not a big deal. Shocking the Emperor is this minister's wrong. The Emperor also smiled, Xiao Yao Wang's free and easy temperament. Don't bother with little matters. You won't lower himself to argue with a child. The Emperor is right. Xiao Yao Wang looked at Huang Beiyu and smiled. This minister has one offer that wishes the Emperor will accept. Just go ahead and say, Xiao Yao Wang. The Emperor exclaimed. Xiao Yao Wang usually was indifferent to fame and fortune. He wanted to live a carefree life and therefore, this was the first time he seeks the emperor. Obviously, the emperor will accept his offer. Xiao Yao Wang replied in monotone. A few days later the Lingyang College will begin the admissions assessment. This minister wants to recommend someone. This is easy, this emperor approves. Just don't know whether this person knows martial arts or. The emperor hears and is a bit happy. The people that Xiao Yao Wang recommend either have a strong strength or big background. Letting them into Lingyang College, for Nanyi country there will only be benefits, not harms. Xiao Yao Wang slightly furrowed his eyebrows, smiling, she's just a normal person. Lingyang College, 5. The emperor was stumped for words for a second. No wonder Xiao Yao Wang came to ask him. Placing a person in Lingyang College isn't a trivial matter. In the college, there is a part of the college which is made for the royal family and daughters and sons of nobility. It specialized in teaching poetry, etiquette, military strategies, tactics, riding, and shooting. Arrange her to go to there. Many thanks to the emperor. A beautiful smile spread across his face. The emperor smiled. I don't know which daughter or son of which family Xiao Yao Wang is recommending. Xiao Yao Wang smiled, said, this person, the emperor certainly knows. After he finished talking, he turned his head. He looked at Huang Beiyu with a smile on his face. Beiyu, come quickly to pay your respect to the emperor. Huang Beiyu lifted her head and glanced at him. Regarding this person who excessively enthusiastic about her, she really doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Going to Lingyang College, he didn't even ask if she agreed. But in fact, she is curious about Lingyang College. She heard that inside the college, it gathered the entire Nanyi country's experts. There are teachers of powerful ranks as well as countless precious secret books and treasures. To the present her, improving her strength is too important. She is even more in a hurry to unlock the secrets of the Black Jade. She really needs a place with ancient information so she can look for information about the Black Jade. Since that person and the Black Jade are related to each other, then, in this era, there must be information regarding that person and the Black Jade. Going to Lingyang College is the best method. Inside the famous 7 towers numerous ancient records are hidden. She already wanted to check it out before this, but experts in Lingyang College heavily guarded the place. It would be difficult for her to go in and out undetected. If she can become one of their students, then it would be the best. All thanks to Xiao Yao Wang that she can go in so smoothly. So when Xiao Yao Wang asked her to thank the emperor, she didn't try to evade it. She confidently walked over. Beiyu, when the emperor heard this name, the smile on his face disappeared for a split second. The emotion on his face showed that he was excited to see Huang Beiyu who was walking slowly towards him. His usual brilliance and prestige suddenly become somewhat haggard and old. Huang Beiyu blinked for a second and the emperor already strode over to her. Both of his hands grabbed her shoulder. Excitedly he said, "You are Beiyu." She nodded her head. Princess Zhang and the emperor is born from the same mother. Princess Zhang is the emperor's blood-related older sister, so he's her uncle. She faintly remembered that when she was little, the emperor was very good to her. He doted on her a lot. Once she was born, he bestowed the title, Princess Beiyu, to her. Furthermore, he also gave her the populous and affluent Qinghe region's land, wanting to give her a life without worries. But after Princess Zhang died, she had entered the palace less. After that, the doctor diagnosed that her illness is contagious. Hence, Huang Beiyu was confined to Princess Zhang's prefecture. Every year, the emperor would give her generous rewards. However, it was always secretly divided among concubine Xue and concubine Qin. Because there are many memories, Huang Beiyu's impression of the emperor is very good. The emperor looked at her thin and sickly body. Suddenly he became furious. He turned around, with on foot he kicked over Xiao Yuanqing who was kneeling on the floor. Shameful thing. The emperor furiously pointed at Xiao Yuanqing. What did you say to me? Every time I asked how Beiyu was, you answered by saying that she is very good. I asked you to bring her to the palace so I can see. You said she doesn't want to come to the palace. Good. I told you to take good care of her. And how did you do? Due to the emperor's anger, the civil and military officers in Xiaoguang Hall all immediately kneeled down. All together shouted, "Emperor, please quell your anger." Lingyang College, 6, Xiao Yuanqing rolled onto the floor. When he got up, he was shuddering from head to foot. Replying to your majesty, Bi Beiyu, since little she has a weak body. I have invited famous doctors and they were all unable to do anything about it. I have failed to live up to the emperor's expectations. I am guilty. The sweat on his forehead dripped down from his face as if it's raining. The people from the Xiao family were all kneeling on the ground, each and every one of them anxious. You still dare deceive me. If you had taken good care of Beiyu, how can she be so thin? The emperor shouted loudly. The empress was behind him, trying to use a soft voice to calm him. However, she was pushed away by the emperor. This was the first time that Princess Yingyi saw her father emperor this angry. So she could only hide behind Zhangyi, anxiously looking at the scene unfold. Xiao Yuancheng's mind trembled so much that he was completely speechless. He specifically ordered concubine Xue to send the best silk gauze, jewelry, and head ornaments to give to Huang Beiyu. He wanted to let her dress herself up seeming as if she didn't lose her status. Then he could let her enter the palace without causing trouble. But he would have never thought that the emperor's care and concern towards Huang Beiyu were unexpectedly down to the smallest detail. Seeing her pale and thin face, which differed from what he had told the emperor, Princess Beiyu is well. If everything is well, then how would she become so thin? Then why would her face be so pale? To deceive the monarch is a big crime. He could never forget the time when Princess Zhang was alive. This child was favored by the emperor. It's not an exaggeration if he says that the emperor considers Princess Beiyu like a treasure. If the emperor found out what kind of life she had lived these past years, then the entire Xiao family would probably be executed unto the third generation. He originally intended that since Huang Beiyu's body is weak, she wouldn't be able to live long. When the moment comes, all his problems will be solved. How can there be so many problems now? However, he is out of his wits right now. He just wanted to calm the emperor's fury. When he thought about executing his entire Xiao family, his entire body won't stop shaking. Xiao Yun has a sharp mind. Seeing this situation, she knew that this time it's big trouble. Immediately she walked up while kneeling, said, replying to the emperor, "Father is really good towards Princess Beiyu. Princess's body was weak since she was young. The doctors are also helpless. Father tells the kitchen every day to make a tonic for the princess, but the princess's body isn't able to absorb the nutrients. Unexpectedly it became worse. The doctor said that the princess might not be able to withstand the tonic. That's why she stopped. However, father was still worried. He would let my mother make the medicine for her to drink every day. This little girl doesn't dare to lie. Princess, please help father say something. Blood is thicker than water and you're so filial. You definitely don't want to see father feel apprehensive, right? This Xiao Yun really knows how to talk. Some of her words were helping Xiao Yuanqing lie while at the same time making Huang Beiyu have nothing to say. Indeed, the doctor said that her body can't withstand the tonic and nutrients. Concubine Xue actually does send medicine to her every day. Father and daughter affection. Blood is thicker than water, these words are so pleasant to hear. It made Huang Beiyu cannot help but be moved after hearing that. Such a loving and caring father, how can she allow him to feel apprehensive, right? The emperor looked at her lovingly, said, Beiyu, you tell me the truth. Is Xiao Yuanqing good to you? With me here, you don't have to be afraid of anything. If he dared to not be good to you, I will immediately execute him. Hearing these words, Xiao Yuanqing immediately trembled for a moment, cold sweat covered his body. He couldn't even kneel properly. His whole body was about to go limp on the ground. His heart only thought that it's all over, that this time he's done for. The emperor wanted her to say how well she had lived in the prefecture all these years. If she says everything, then today will be the day that their Xiao family will be completely executed. Lingyang College, 7, Xiao Yun's beautiful face became completely pale. At this time, Huang Beiyu's one sentence decided their fate. She never thought at any moment that this waste would be so useful. And never at any moment did she regret something so much. If she knew, all these years she would have been nicer to her. That way she wouldn't have to live in fear right now. Xiao Yaowang also looked at Huang Beiyu. Just a few words from Xiao Yun, he vaguely understood the days that she had been through. Now he should be happy since the emperor will bring her justice. From now on, he'll feel less guilty. Feng Lianni looked at Huang Beiyu's cold face and slightly smiled. He had a feeling that this arrogant girl would not accept someone's help so easily. Huang Beiyu peacefully looked at the Xiao family that is kneeling on the ground. In her heart, she felt sour. If the real Huang Beiyu was here, perhaps everyone wouldn't have to go through so much anymore. She needed to hold on a couple more days, just a couple more days. After that, she could live a calm and carefree life. However, she wasn't able to hold on. Just a couple of days earlier, because of the people from the Xiao family, she was forced to die alone in front of Princess Zhang's grave. Looking at their trembling bodies, she felt happy for Huang Beiyu. But in her heart, she was angry. She won't easily forgive these people. Of course. Her lips tilted up and she showed a soft smile. Father and sister, brothers and concubines, were all very nice to me. When Xiao Yuanqing heard her open her mouth, he thought that she was going to complain. He almost fainted, but when he heard the words behind her, he was shocked. He looked up at her incredulously. Huang Beiyu looked at him and smiled faintly. Her smile contained a tint of unpredictableness which led Xiao Yuanqing to shiver. Xiao Yaowang frowned and couldn't help but to say, Beiyu, you don't need to be afraid. I'm not afraid. They actually are very nice to me. The sound of Huang Beiyu's voice was crisp and clear. There was no trace of lying. The heart of Xiao Yaowang sunk. Did he guess wrong? He faintly felt that the situation wasn't that simple and wanted to continue to speak. However, that was stopped when Feng Lianyi pulled on his sleeves. He turned around to see his friend smile and shook his head. She knows what she is doing, believe in her. Xiao Yaowang felt a bit strange. It seemed as though he understood Beiyu a lot. Since Feng Lianyi had said so, he decided to keep quiet and watch the events unfold. The emperor's angry face was slightly relieved, but still with a trace of doubt. Then how come all these years, you haven't come to the palace? There was a touch of melancholy in Huang Beiyu's eyes and she lowered her head. There were too many memories of my mother in the palace. Every time I thought about my mother, I always felt sad. As a result, I dared not to enter the palace. Letting the emperor worry is Yu Er's mistake. So that's why, the emperor muttered. Royal sister's death, even I can't believe it. Even until today I can't believe it. Seeing that the emperor's anger had diminished, the group of ministers had all sighed. Everyone can't help but look at Huang Beiyu in admiration. Originally they thought that after Princess Zhang had passed, an orphan girl would have no one to rely on. Thus, she would become waste. However, no one knew that the emperor is still so concerned about her. Looks like that Princess Beiyu is an important figure. The empress re-examined Huang Beiyu and her mind was thinking. Lingyang College, 8th sponsor, Erika Pascal, Love the nightmare from 4 years ago seemed to have begun once more. Your Majesty, it's getting late and Princess Beiyu has a weak body. Why not let her go back and rest? The Empress walked up and softly exclaimed. Under the elegant makeup, no one saw how pale her face was. Yes, it's getting late. But I don't want Beiyu to go back alone. The Emperor raised his head and looked around in a circle, his gaze landed on the Crown Prince. Zhan Yi. Emperor. Xiao Yaowang suddenly voiced his opinion, stopping the Emperor from this foolish decision. How can he let the Crown Prince take Princess Beiyu back? If the Crown Prince actually did so, who knows how many people are going to talk behind Princess Beiyu's back about this? They would say that she isn't worthy of respect. In the Empress and Crown Prince's heart, they wouldn't be happy with Huang Beiyu. He didn't want her at such a young age to offend all these important figures already. Well, this minister is planning to leave the palace right now. How about letting this minister protect Princess Beiyu on the journey back home? The Emperor also realized that making the Crown Prince do so wasn't the best decision. Since Xiao Yaowang offered, the Emperor granted him permission. Huang Beiyu thanked the Emperor and sighed in her heart. The Emperor's action almost scared her. But then again, it was probably because they are related by blood. The impression that the Emperor gave her was pretty good. From her childhood memories, she could see that the Emperor really loves Huang Beiyu. To these types of people, she will do her best to repay them back. After leaving the palace, it was the same as when they had come here. She was in the same horse carriage as Xiao Yun. However, this time Xiao Yun didn't seem to be as arrogant anymore and didn't brag to her about this or about that. The atmosphere within the horse carriage was very quiet. Huang Beiyu closed her eyes to rest. Xiao Yun looked at her and in her heart, she wanted to kill her so badly. When she thought about how angry the Emperor was, she halted that thought. Third sister, did you sleep? Xiao Yun probed. Today she didn't complain to the Emperor. This led Xiao Yun to be very confused. Is she that dumb? It didn't seem so. The Huang Beiyu now didn't look like the weak and stupid girl. There was a feeling of uneasiness in her heart, but she couldn't explain the cause of it. No. Huang Beiyu bluntly replied, not opening her eyes. After today's events, she also knew that Xiao Yun not only inherited the bloodline of Xiao Yuanchang's father's summoning skills, but also his cleverness. What she said today led Huang Beiyu to see her in another light. She would never have thought how detailed Xiao Yun's mind was. She's the type to not act carelessly during times of danger. Xiao Zhongqi during that time most likely would have been scared to the same extent as Xiao Yuanqing. Xiao Ling, of course, was even more terrified. Xiao Yun forced a smile, saying, after a couple days, you're going to begin school at Lingyang College. Even though you don't need to take the admissions test to get into the school, you should still buy some school materials. I will let my mom bring you some. She is obviously trying to please Huang Beiyu in order to let Xiao Yaowang help her refine marrow cleansing pill and also because the Emperor's anger had scared her. Okay. Huang Beiyu didn't refuse. They're using her money, so why not? She agreed, but that doesn't mean she owed them anything. That also doesn't mean she will help Xiao Yun. Seeing that she accepted, Xiao Yun felt a little better. It looked like Huang Beiyu is really grateful that Xiao Yun's mother sent her medicine every day. In the entire Princess Zhang's prefecture, only Xiao Yun's mother was slightly nicer to her. It would be weird if Huang Beiyu isn't grateful to her. Thinking up to here, Xiao Yun's doubts diminished. Lingyang College, 9th, sponsor, Erika Pascal, Love. The horse carriage stopped in front of Princess Zhang's prefecture. The people outside the door immediately came to hold the horses and opened the curtains. Huang Beiyu walked down first. The people in Princess Zhang's prefecture didn't know what happened during today's palace banquet. They still thought that Huang Beiyu is a waste. One of Xiao Yun's maid coldly exclaimed, "Why are you stalling? Hurry up. Are you trying to let young miss wait for you?" Huang Beiyu raised her head to look at her. Before she could speak, a whip slammed over and the maid was immediately thrown out. Half her face was bloody. Xiao Yuanqing angrily shouted, "You have no eyes. Is this the way to talk to the princess?" What just happened had led the maids who usually bully Huang Beiyu on a daily basis to be terrified. They were stunned. Xiao Yaowang stood by the side and witnessed everything. Xiao Yuanqing didn't have the guts to order Huang Beiyu around like a servant anymore. He immediately ordered, "Help the princess down the carriage." Pei Xiang, who came out to pick up Xiao Rou, witnessed everything. She wisely walked up and politely helped Huang Beiyu down the carriage. "Princess, be careful beneath your feet." Xiao Yuanqing saw this sensible maid and his face was slightly relieved. He quickly got off the horse and respectfully said to Xiao Yaowang, "Thank you, Wang Yi, for sending us back." Xiao Yaowang looked at him for a second and got off the horse as well. He pulled Huang Beiyu to one side and said in a low voice, Is there something preventing you from speaking the truth? Tell me. I won't let anyone hurt you." Huang Beiyu's heart began to warm up. In her past life as a killer, she had already forgotten what warmth was like. Being in Jianghu for so many years, only Master had given her warmth. Other than Master, there was only a woman called N, who let her felt carefree. People like her are fated to darkness, loneliness, and to killers. She thought that was the case before as well. However, when she came here, she met all sorts of people. They gave her warmth, care, and trust. She raised her head, and smiled faintly at Xiao Yaowang. "Wang Yi, look at my eyes. Look at it carefully. Look inside. I'm being absolutely serious. I can lie to other people, but I will never lie to myself." A firm voice echoed. There was a faint smile on her lips and Huang Beiyu stood up straight. The cold and proud temperament radiated from her which led people to believe in her. Believe her. I can lie to other people, but I will never lie to myself. Such a brave statement, it's not something a weak child is able to say so easily. Xiao Yaowang suddenly felt assured. You make me feel surprised. But you are still young. There are some things you might not be able to solve. Come find me whenever you need to. I promised your mother that I will take care of you. Rest assured. If there's something I can't solve, you probably can't either. Huang Beiyu smiled confidently. She is someone who doesn't like owing people something and she also doesn't like to beg. The biggest taboo for people like her is to become dependent on someone. Being dependent on someone can be deadly. Even though her soul was trembling, her heart is calm. The sword in her hand will never tremble. Xiao Yaowang raised his face and grinned at her. Although he didn't speak, Huang Beiyu could still see clearly. In his eyes, there's a light called trust. Looking behind him, there was another horse carriage. It was Feng Lianyi who opened the carriage's curtains and stared over here. In the purple eyes, there was a little smile. Lingyang College, 10, Huang Beiyu's eyebrows wrinkled. She thought about Feng Lianyi, who appeared in Princess Zhang's prefecture. That person is not simple. She doesn't know how well Xiao Yaowang actually knows about him. However, since Xiao Yaowang showed such concerns for her, it seemed that she needs to remind him. Wang Yi, that Feng Lianyi isn't simple. It's best if you be careful. After she finished whispering, she walked past Xiao Yaowang and into Princess Zhang's prefecture, the view of her back cold. Xiao Yaowang stared blankly, then he shook his fan while he slowly began to laugh. Is she actually concerned about him? After Huang Beiyu returned Flowing Clouds Pavilion, Xiao Yuanqing immediately sent people over, saying that Flowing Clouds Pavilion is too desolated. If her health is better, then she can move to the Rongyu Pavilion so that they can look after her. She is presently worried about Dong Ling's injuries. How would she have time to deal with those people? With a severe expression on, she quickly made them leave. She promptly returned to the room to take a look at Dong Ling. Dong Ling was on the bed, lying on her stomach as if she's dying. She tried her best to hide so that people won't find out. When she had returned, she had immediately taken off her black cloak and hid it. Right now, she is wearing white clothes. The blood bled out, dyeing her clothes red. Huang Beiyu quickly took out the jadeite liquid that the Crown Prince had given her last time, applying it to her body. Dong Ling slowly opened her eyes, weakly said, "I'm sorry, young miss, I really couldn't endure it anymore. So I could only come home." "You did very well. With you here, I am very assured." Enduring the pain, she got up, extremely moved. It's a pity that we couldn't dispose of Xiao Yun today. Otherwise, I will slowly take care of her. You just rest and take care of your injuries. Huang Beiyu comforted her. The Emperor has allowed me to enter Lingyang College. When the time comes, I will go ask him to let you in too. She remembered that when they were little, Dong Ling had some martial arts talent. At that time Princess Zhang had invited teachers to teach Dong Ling specially. Later, when Princess Zhang had died, no one invited the teachers again. Living in this era, without a little bit of ability, it would be difficult to survive. Really? Is it really possible? Dong Ling incredulously widened her eyes. Lingyang College, countless people will do anything to just get in. Every year, the eldest miss, Xiao Ling, would go beg the Lord. However, she had no way to pass the assessment, so there is no way for her to get in. She's a bit puzzled. Does young miss want to take the assessment too? Seeming as if she had read Dong Ling's worries, Wang Beiyu laughed. I am going to the Imperial College. I don't need to take the assessment. It's good that you're going to the Imperial College. Princess Yingyi and the Crown Prince are also at the Imperial College studying. I saw today that Princess Yingyi and the Crown Prince treated young miss quite well. They are indeed pretty good. Princess Yingyi is straightforward and sincere. Crown Prince Zhangyi seemed cold and distant, but he is really gentle. But even if young miss goes to Lingyang College, you still have to be careful, Dong Ling said worriedly. Inside the school, there are many students who are exceptional experts. If the young miss doesn't want to expose her identity, it's best if you keep your distance from them. I understand. However, I might have no choice. Xiao Zhongqi and Xiao Yun, as well as Xue Che, are all at Lingyang College. She doesn't believe that they won't come and provoke her. But even if soldiers came, she will resist. When had she, Huang Beiyu, ever afraid of anything? By Shui Courtyard. What happened today in the palace? Concubine Xue already heard everything from Xiao Yun. Ever since Xiao Yuanqing had returned from the palace, he had lost her temper. No one had any idea how many things he had thrown in the room. No one dared to go up to calm him down. After his temper had finally calmed down, only then did concubine Xue go up and said, "Lord, please calm down. Don't hurt your health because of that little girl. Martial arts competition on the stage. 1. Hang. Xiao Yuanqing snorted as his face distorted. For so many years, I underestimated her. Thinking about the recent events such as Huang Beiyu's conduct and deeds, Xiao Yuanqing finally realized. He realized that his daughter is different from the past. In the past, no matter if she's yelled at or beaten, she wouldn't dare to say anything. Now, every time he opened his mouth to say something, she'll embarrass him. She even made him almost lose the life of the whole family. Concubine quickly said, "Lord, you're thinking too much. No matter how powerful she is still only a 12-years-old little girl. What big billow can she stir up?" She indeed can't stir up a big billow, but the people behind her can. Never mind the emperor and the empress dowager. I don't know why, today, even Xiao Yaowang is protecting her. In the past, Xiao Yaowang and Princess Zhang had a friendship. Probably because of this that he's protecting that little girl. Talking about Xiao Yaowang, a golden light flashed in concubine Shue's eyes. If Xiao Yaowang knew what happened in these past years, our Xiao family would be done for. Xiao Yuanqing worried anxiously. Concubine Shui said, "How will Xiao Yaowang know? Didn't the third miss say nothing today? After all, we are all a family. Blood is thicker than water. She doesn't say it today. It doesn't mean that other people won't know. The people in the prefecture are talkative. I can't feel at ease. Then what does my lord intend to do?" Concubine Shui asked. Right now she is hoping to use Huang Beiyu to curry favor with Xiao Yaowang. This matter is more important than her status in the Xiao family. Now, is she discouraged towards Xiao Yuanqing? She doesn't count on him anymore to raise her concubine status to the wife status. She had placed all her hope onto Xiao Yun. If Xiao is good, then she'll be good. Xiao Yuanchang's distorted face flashed a silver of strictness. I absolutely cannot tolerate her. Concubine Shue's heart trembled. The way she looked at Xiao Yuanqing is a little complicated. Even wild beasts look after their young. He hated Princess Zhang from that year after all that shame she had brought him. However, Huang Beiyu is his biological daughter. Yet he can be so heartless. She now saw how fickle he is. For so many years she followed him with her whole heart loyally. Giving up what originally should be hers, ordinary happiness and life. In the end, what a joke. However, since things had already reached this stage, wanting to go back is too late. What is done and cannot be undone. She can only slowly coax him and stabilize her status. She needs to let Xiao Yun excel, then the second half of her life can she be carefree and without worries. How does my lord plan to do this? Concubine Shui softly asked. Her body is originally weak if she suddenly dies. It's still normal. We can't let her have a mishap in the prefecture again. Otherwise, the emperor would never let the Xiao family get away with it. Then my lord means. Concubine Shui only felt burst after burst of chilliness. Xiao Yuanchang's eyes became hazy. After many years of humiliation, it seemed that his head suddenly exploded at this moment. Let her accidentally die outside. No one can blame us then. Concubine Shui's heart jumped. After she remembered Xiao Yaowang, hurriedly asked, when does my lord plan to do this? Of course the sooner, the better. But the plan still needs to be carefully planned out so that it'll be flawless. It would need a little bit of time. In fact, killing Huang Beiyu is easy. She is a waste and no one is beside her. To dispose of her, it would be easy. But in order to make sure that the matter is done so that nothing will leak out, making the emperor and Xiao Yaowang both think that she had died accidentally, then it would need some good amount of effort. My lord, this matter would need you to carefully plan it. Must by all means, it can't have any slip-up. Martial arts competition on the stage, too. Lord, I think we should plan this out first. There can't be anything wrong. Concubine Shui didn't want Huang Beiyu to die so fast. Without her, how can they pull Xiao Yao Wang to their side? Concubine Shui, it's you who knows me the best. All these years, I could only talk to you about the things I go through. Xiao Yuanqing turned his head around and saw Concubine Shui, who is as beautiful as a picture, just like in the past. He felt the stirring of love overflowing, stirring restlessly, unable to contain it. He promptly drew her towards him and pinned her down on the couch. Darling, you know me so well. There's no doubt why after so many years, I still love you the most. Xiao Yuanqing said. Both of his hands are already inside Concubine Shui's clothes, kneading her. Concubine Shui lovably moaned a few times. She protested coquettishly with a humph and glanced at him. You only know how to say good words to coax me. In her heart, though, she was laughing coldly. If he really had loved her all these years, he wouldn't let Concubine Qin, that slut, ride above her head. The person who drinks it knows best whether the water is hot or cold. After so many years of internal family strife, Concubine Shui was never the ignorant girl from before. She knew she can't rely on men. She could only rely on herself. Xiao Yuanqing sent a person over and urged Huang Beiyu to move over to Rongyu Pavilion a couple of times. After all, Rongyu Pavilion looked more decent, but Huang Beiyu politely rejected each time. Luyun Pavilion is quiet, which is exactly how she liked it. It would also be much more convenient for her to do things without so many people around. In desperation, Xiao Yuanqing decided to use a lot of money to let people renovate Luyun Pavilion. He made sure it was better than any of the yards of Princess Zhang's prefecture. This action not only made Concubine Qin's face look unpleasant for a couple of days, but it also made Huang Beiyu vomit blood because of how angry she was. She didn't want to move to Rongyu Pavilion because she didn't want people to annoy her. But who would have thought that Xiao Yuanqing was so scared of the emperor's anger during the palace banquet that he sent people to come to renovate the yard. The craftsmen worked day and night, which led Huang Beiyu to not be able to study the black jade in peace. She could only wait for Lingyang College to start. These 2 days Concubine Shui had tried many times to let Huang Beiyu go to Xiao Yaowang Prefecture to thank Xiao Yaowang for sending her back safely. Because she is afraid that Huang Beiyu will do something out of place, she let Xiao Yun follow Huang Beiyu too. Concubine Shui prepared a thank you gift and told Huang Beiyu to send it to Yun Yun. However, Huang Beiyu denied their request every time under the excuse that she wasn't feeling well. This led Concubine Shui and Xiao Yun to be unhappy. Xiao Yun wanted the pill badly, but she saw that Huang Beiyu was being uncooperative. In her heart, her hatred towards Huang Beiyu increased. 2 days later, that's when school started for Lingyang College. On this early morning, Dong Ling got up early and helped Huang Beiyu prepare her books and other items. The two of them walked from Luyun Pavilion to the front yard. This year Xiao Zhonglei and Xiao Rou could also enter Lingyang College. Therefore the family of Xiao all came out to send them off. Xiao Ling, who stood behind, had an ugly expression on. She saw that everyone was able to go to Lingyang College, even the waste Huang Beiyu, but she isn't able to go. No one knew how much Xiao Ling resented her at this moment. After what happened during the palace banquet, Xiao Yuancheng's attitude towards Huang Beiyu on the surface was very nice. It made it seem as though he was grateful that Huang Beiyu didn't tell the truth to the emperor. In Huang Beiyu's heart, she understood Xiao Yuancheng's attitude towards her. She saw how he had to pretend to be like a father towards her in front of people. She didn't really care. Martial arts competition on the stage. 3. Beiyu, you are entering Imperial College. All the people there are royalties. You need to be careful and not offend people. Huang Beiyu looked at him shortly and let Dong Ling help her up the horse carriage. Then she moved the curtains out of the way, exclaiming, "This is Princess Zhang's prefecture. Since I am the princess, I know what to do and what not to do." "Father, you're overthinking." After she was done speaking, she placed the curtains back down. She coldly ordered, "Let's go." Xiao Yuan Chang's face was green. The few sentences by Huang Beiyu seemed to be reminding him that he is merely a husband in Princess Zhang's prefecture. Even if Princess Zhang had passed away, he still had no right to speak. Today everyone inside the prefecture was gathered together regardless of their status. The few sentences that Huang Beiyu had said led everyone to gasp. Is this third lady under some spell? How come the words that came out of her mouth are shocking? After Xiao Yuanqing saw the several horse carriages left Princess Zhang's prefecture, he went to the royal court. The concubines had also left. After they left, the servants then gathered together in secret and discussed what happened. I heard that during the palace banquet the emperor harshly scolded the lord. The emperor said that the lord was treating the third lady poorly. Due to that, the emperor was so mad that he was going to chop the lord's head off. Yeah. The third lady got rewards the second day at the palace. The emperor, it seemed, hadn't forgotten the third lady. Then what should we do? See if the third lady has the emperor as the backup. Will the third lady come to find us for revenge? All the people here had bullied the third lady before. Well, I haven't do anything physically. The most I have done was scold her. You think you can get away with it even though you only scolded her? Look at Lier from yesterday night who had spoken badly about the third lady. She was beaten by the lord and now trapped in the firewood room. She hadn't eaten anything for a couple of days. It seemed like Lier won't be able to make it. Then those of you who had physically hurt her will have a worse ending. If that's the case, we should all have a bad ending together. I don't think the third lady is such a vengeful person. Otherwise, she would have told the truth in the palace already. I think so too. The third lady and Princess Zhang's personalities are the same. They are both nice and caring and their heart is warm. That's right. Like mother like daughter. A group of people was rambled on and gossiped. Pei Xiang who just walked by heard this and she hid behind the door and sneered. Nice, caring, and a warm heart. That doesn't sound likely. However, the third miss from now on is not a person without talent. Every year after spring had passed, that's when Lingyang College began its entrance exams. The freshmen are assigned to colleges through the assessments while the old students took the assessments to see which grade they would be assigned to. At present time, Lingyang College had 4 major courses: martial arts, summoning, refining, and illusion. The college had recruited talented people from all over the country. When Huang Beiyu arrived at the entrance of Lingyang College, there were already many other carriages outside. These are carriages that escorted the young ladies/masters to school from the city. The gates of Lingyang College were magnificent, with hundreds of steps leading to the top. The dark arches in front of the door were filled with power and there are plenty of energies flowing. This is one of the barriers guarding Lingyang College. When there is an invasion of foreign enemies, the vitality on the archway will create a huge vitality barrier. If the invader's strength isn't above 8 stars, it is impossible to break through. The pure and honest black seemed to be more solemn, giving people a layer of admiration. Huang Beiyu got off the carriage and just walked up the stairs when she heard a loud scream from behind. The carriage of Anguagong Prefecture is here. Everyone get out of the way. The sound of the scream was filled with vitality, so it was particularly loud. In front of the originally lively door, everyone became to be quiet as they all shifted their attention to the fast-moving carriage. Martial arts competition on the stage. For new students from other parts of the country saw people from the Gong prefecture for the first time. They couldn't help but be astonished. Under the sun of heaven, they can't believe that there is someone so arrogant. They heard before that Gong prefecture in Nani country is very powerful. They have thousands of experts inside their prefecture. The amount of experts is like clouds. Plus they have a lot of financial resources. Gong is also a crafty person. It could be said that this generation of people from the Gong prefecture considers themselves high up in the sky. In the capital city, many influential officials fall over each other in eagerness to curry favor with them. Their publicity among the big families and clans is the most flourishing. Not many would dare to block this kind of power in the imperial capital. A few horsekeepers even tactfully pushed away their own carriage, letting the carriage from Gong prefecture to dash straightly in. The carriage arrogantly stopped at Lingyang College's doorway. The servant girl from the carriage jumped down to lift the curtain of the carriage. She lends an arm to the young master and the young miss to get down of the carriage. With one glance, Huang Beiyu was able to see Shueqi, the Shueqi who had obtained the rank 11 Red Spider. It was obvious that he was different from before. It seemed that in order to match the Red Spider's bright red body, he also wore a very arrogant red. He put on airs as a few young girls whose face became red from staring at him. Because Shueqi is in the limelight, Xiao Zhongqi isn't happy. They are both young masters from big families. He isn't a summoner, so his status is lower than others. He has a conceited personality, so of course, he doesn't accept that fact. With Huang Beiyu's sharp observation skills, the corner of her eyes swept across the expression on his face. Her heart moved slightly. In the past she thought Xiao Zhongqi and Shueqi, who are both from sons of aristocratic families, would have a pretty good relationship. She would have never thought. She secretly laughed, not planning to look at the people from the Shui family any longer. She turned around along with Dongling and walked up the flight of steps. At this time, Shueqi turned around, with an elegant demeanor, helped a beautiful young girl who is around 14 or 15 down. The young girl is wearing a bright green dress. Her hand held a long sword embedded with gems. Her actions are exuberant and she has a flowery beauty. She nimbly supported herself by holding on to Shueqi's hand as jumped down from the carriage. Seeing this young girl got off the carriage, Xiaoyun smiled. She walked a few steps toward her, said, Meng, when did you return to the imperial city? Shui Meng lifted her head and saw Xiaoyun. Her face smiled a bright smile. She winked at Shueqi as she walked. I just returned. The moment I returned, I heard that you and I will be even closer. Stop blabbering nonsense. I'll ignore you. When Xiaoyun heard that, she immediately turned red and stomped her foot, turned around and walked away. Then Shui Meng happily caught up with her and pulling her hand said, Okay. I won't make fun of you anymore. When did your skin become so thin? When she saw Huang Beiyu who is on the steps, she wrinkled her eyebrows and raised her chin. When did your skin become so thin equals when did you become so shy? Is she Princess Beiyu, the one who was abandoned by my brother? Huang Beiyu, who was walking up the steps, stopped for a second. Her hearing ability is extraordinary. How can she not hear what Shui Meng is saying? Xiaoyun needs to exploit Huang Beiyu, so she can't do as she did before, using every opportunity to humiliate her. She quickly pulled at Shui Meng's sleeve. She said in a low voice, Let's not talk about this, let's talk what fun things you did recently. When Shui Meng heard that she was changing the topic, was immediately surprised. I can't believe even you're afraid of her. Father said she actually dared to embarrass my brother in public. Humph. I heard that she entered Lingyang College, so I intentionally came to see why a girl without manner dares to be so arrogant. Meng her, some words I'll tell you later. Martial arts competition on the stage. 5. Xiao Yun knew what Xue Meng's attitude was like. Being treasured by Ongwa Gong, she naturally was arrogant. If she let Xue Meng go pick a fight with Huang Beiyu, this eldest young miss who has an evil heart might actually end up killing Huang Beiyu. She didn't want Huang Beiyu to die right now. Xiao Yun held on to Xue Meng tightly and didn't let her find Huang Beiyu's problem. The couple of them walked away from the other side. Huang Beiyu slowly walked up, going through her memories. Xue Meng was Ongwa Gong Fu's eldest young miss, Xue Chei's sister. The two people's attitudes were about the same, both arrogant and liked to bully the weak. Now that Xue Chei got the rank 11 Red Spider, he's going to be even more arrogant. In the Imperial College, most of the people were royals or from the royal families. Those who didn't have talent could come here to learn about etiquette, ruling a country, and military strategies. The Imperial College's teachers were mostly prestigious scholars throughout the country. Because it was Huang Beiyu's first time here and it was through Xiao Yao Wang's recommendation, there were specialized people who led her to see a few of the teachers in the Imperial College. Chen Yuanshi, who teaches zither, is sick and is at home, so these 2 days, another teacher is substituting the class. Princess, please come in. That person slightly bent her back and led her into a courtyard with flowers and trees. A few zither notes are heard and it was obvious someone was testing the zither out. Okay. Put it away. The elegant voice said softly. Huang Beiyu thought that this voice was familiar to her but didn't think much about it. A man just turned around, his clothes whiter than snow and black hair as ink. His light purple eyes seemed as if it would seize all love affairs away. Huang Beiyu stood there stunned and heard the man laugh. Princess Beiyu, you're here. Paying respects to the teacher. Huang Beiyu politely answered. Her expression indifferent. Feng Lianni looked at her, his eyes flashed over a disappointed look before disappearing. Right after he smiled, go to class. Huang Beiyu nodded her head and didn't say much either. She turned around and walked out. Dong Ling followed her, whispering, young miss doesn't seem to like this person. He isn't as nice as he is on the surface. If you see him later, be careful. That night's zither notes replayed in her heart. But the first time she saw him, she couldn't ignore the murderous aura around him. Her impression on this man always hadn't been that great. Dong Ling nodded her head. Now she is revered towards Huang Beiyu. Every word that Huang Beiyu says, Dong Ling will hold on to it as though that is the only truth. She will never doubt it. The Imperial College's classes included zither, literature, art, etiquette, history, military strategies, arithmetic, medicine, and writing skills. The students didn't need to take all the classes. They just needed to pick 3 to 4 classes that they enjoyed. Huang Beiyu chose writing, military strategies, medicine, and history. These 4 classes were more likely to be chosen by males. Even if they were males, they wouldn't choose all these 4 rather hard classes. After Huang Beiyu had chosen, she grabbed her schedule and left. She ignored the old man who kept on talking. These 4 classes were more of her taste. She didn't want to learn about the 4 arts, zither, go, calligraphy, painting. She thought it was useless since she wouldn't be applying this in the future. It's not like she's going to be a housewife. Her dream was way above this. Today's first class was writing. Huang Beiyu changed to a casual riding outfit and pulled her hair up into a ponytail. With that, she went to class. Martial arts competition on the stage. 6. During this era, many countries all focused on martial arts. Those who had talent all went to the east courtyard of Lingyang College. Those who had no talents and wanted to learn some skills all picked riding. All the 10 classes, this class held the most popularity. On the riding field from a distant place, groups of aristocratic young masters/ladies could be seen wearing a variety of gorgeous and exquisite horse riding costumes. The fragrances they wore burst into the air. This didn't seem to like a riding field, but instead more like an outdoor banquet. Huang Beiyu couldn't help but regret her choice. If she knew earlier, she wouldn't have chosen riding class. It was already basic skills for her, so it wasn't really helping her in any way. She just thought that this body was too weak, so it needed some training. That's why she chose riding. Who knew, Beiyu? While she was being depressed, a crisp voice rang from the back. A group of young masters/misses all looked towards here and greeted them. Paying respects to the princess. All rise. Princess Yingyi casually raised her hand and smiled. She walked up to Huang Beiyu and grabbed her hand. Today she wore a bright red riding suit which reflected well with her pretty little face. I heard the classes that you chose and I couldn't believe it. Your body isn't that well, so you should have picked some easier classes like the 4 arts. I've been staying at home for a long time, so I wanted to try something new. Huang Beiyu just found a random excuse to say to Princess Yingyi. She added on, class is starting, let's go. Today was the first day, so there were many freshmen. Teacher Guiyuan, who taught riding, decided to take this group of freshmen to the east courtyard to see the real masters, hoping it will motivate their fighting spirit. The students immediately became excited. Each one was energetic and followed Teacher Guiyuan to the east courtyard. In the eastern courtyard for martial arts, a group of relatively good students came this year. The coach taught them basic skills while the old students watched and guided them. Teacher Guiyuan, what brought you here? To see my new group of students. They're all incredible. Teacher Lei Yuan laughed and walked over here, his face smug. Teacher Guiyuan's face became uncomfortable, but he still walked over there and smiled. Teacher Lei Yuan, I didn't expect you to be here today. If he knew it was Teacher Lei Yuan who taught today, he wouldn't have come. They're both students in the martial arts academy, but Lei Yuan sure can actually teach martial arts, while he could only stay in Imperial College and teach a bunch of aristocratic young misses/masters riding skills. It's good that I'm here. Coincidentally, the new students came today. Teacher Guiyuan, are you interested in a competition? Competition? A competition with the Martial Arts Academy. These aristocratic young masters/misses immediately became timid and they looked at each other. Although they were usually proud, they still were smart enough. Teacher Guiyuan exclaimed, it is not necessary for a competition. You can just give us some tips. Teacher Lei Yuan was only joking anyway. He knew the levels of these aristocratic young masters/misses. He chuckled and waved his hand over. Meng Er, you can come to guide them. Surrounded by a group of young geniuses, revering her as their leader, Xue Meng walked out like a proud princess. Teacher Lei Yuan looked around and saw Princess Yingyi, who stood behind the crowd. He was taken aback. Princess, you're here too. Princess Yingyi could be counted as having talent in martial arts too. She was an old student, but because of the Empress's worry, she didn't come to the martial arts academy often. Most of the time she spent her day in Imperial College learning poetry and etiquette. Princess Yingyi nodded her head, dignified and grandeur. This is how a princess should be. Martial arts competition on the stage. 7. I'm just looking around, no need to look after me. Teacher Lei Yuan nodded his head and turned over to Xue Meng and said, just perform a few tricks for them to look. Xue Meng nodded and walked up, revealing her beautiful smile. She paid her respects to Princess Yingyi and performed a couple skills in front of everyone. She wore a bright green dress, the cuffs danced, and her waist twisted, exposing her beauty to the maximum. The young men who only dared to bow their heads towards Princess Yi, all looked towards Xue Meng with full attention. They screamed at how fantastic she was. Teacher Lei Yuan also touched the short beard on his chin and nodded. No doubt, Xue Meng was one of the students he was proud of. After she finished performing, Xue Meng raised her hand towards the place she had just performed, asking, "These few tricks are quite simple. Does anyone want to come out and practice with me?" Xue Meng's skills had spread throughout Lingyang College. She and her elder brother were simply the same, both enjoyed to bring down the new student's self-esteem and confidence. It was rumored that a new female student from this year was really beautiful and had a lot of talent. Xue Meng brought a few people with her and beat the female student until she couldn't stand up. She was taken home on her first day of school. Many people didn't like the way Xue Meng acted, but no one dared to say anything about it because of her background, strength, and beauty. After all, even the teachers were on her side. She smiled and walked around the crowd in a circle. Those aristocratic young misses were all afraid that Xue Meng would call on them, they all looking down and avoiding her gaze. But of course, Xue Meng wouldn't look for any other people. She saw Huang Beiyu with her first glance. She wanted to teach this girl, who would insult her father and siblings in front of everyone, a lesson. Today she had the best chance. She would teach her a real good lesson to make her father and brother feel better. "Princess Beiyu, I heard that you're smart and agile. These simple tricks, you must have learned this before already. How about you come up and practice with me?" The entire Linhui city all knew that Huang Beiyu from Princess Xiang Prefecture is a weak waist. Everyone knew that Xue Meng was purposefully insulting her by saying that she was smart and agile. Xue Meng was just complimenting Huang Beiyu first, so it didn't seem like she was trying to find a weakling as an opponent. She made it seem like she wasn't trying to take advantage of someone. After she had said this, everyone turned their heads towards Huang Beiyu. They either felt sympathetic or were waiting on a good show. Hee, Huang Beiyu's going to be tortured by Xue Meng. Princess Yi frowned and her eyes narrowed. Beiyu's body isn't feeling well. Find somebody else. Since the princess had already spoken, who dared to not follow her orders? Xue Meng clenched her jaw. What is this arrogant Princess Yi doing, trying to stand up for Huang Beiyu? At the last auction, she heard that she also went against her father, so annoying. Xue Meng was about to look for another target when Huang Beiyu touched her chin. Her face serious. "You really want to practice with me? If Princess Beiyu's body isn't feeling well, then it's fine. I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to take advantage of you." The way Xue Meng spoke was obviously not happy with the decision. Huang Beiyu thought about it. "Well, my body's fine. But I'm not sure how much of those few tricks that I remembered. How about I come up and practice with you?" In Xue Meng's heart, she was excited. This stupid girl is just like how Xiao Yun had said. Her brain is so dumb. She wanted to let her go, but Huang Beiyu was the one who insisted. Okay, if she, later on, ate a loss, everyone had seen that it was Huang Beiyu who wanted to practice with her. Martial arts competition on the stage, 8. Princess Yi looked at Huang Beiyu, worried. She said, "Beiyu, it's just a practice. Princess, you don't need to worry." The way she spoke was naive, like a typical girl who knew nothing of the world. After she was done speaking, Huang Beiyu walked up and said to Xue Meng, "Not everyone can see here. Let's go up there." She raised her hand and pointed to the arena in the practice field. The people in the practice field were all shocked by her suggestion. Xue Meng looked her strangely. "You want to go up there and spar with me? This stupid girl, does she have a brain?" Does she know what an arena is? That's a place where Shui Meng isn't held responsible if Huang Beiyu gets hurt or die. Life and death don't count. Princess Yingyi already stood up and walked towards them. Even Teacher Lei Yuan and Teacher Yuanshi went up to stop this. No. The purpose of the arena is not used for practice. But Huang Beiyu didn't care as she kept walking towards the arena. What? Are you afraid? As she walked by Shui Meng, she lowly exclaimed. Only the two of them could hear. This is the first time someone had arrogantly challenged Shui Meng of all the years she had lived. Huang Beiyu dared to ask her if she dared. A waste dared to talk to her like that. Humph. Later on, when she goes up there, life and death don't count. Don't cry and beg. Shui Meng followed her in large strides. Beiyu. Princess Yingyi yelled. This is a martial arts competition on the arena. As long as the two people agreed, no one can interfere with them. Even though this wasn't the law, but it had been like this since the ancient times and people had always followed. Because on the arena, there's only the two of them. No one else. What should she do? If Beiyu got into an accident, Father Emperor will be upset. Royal Aunt who is in the afterworld will be sad too. She immediately ordered her entourage whose job is to protect her to inform Royal Brother quickly. Tell him to come over here, quick. That entourage also knew that the situation is getting out of hand and didn't dare to stall time. He immediately left. On the arena, Huang Beiyu and Shui Meng had already walked up. Both standing on opposite sides and stared at each other. The bottom was surrounded by a group of people who were watching this happen. That Princess Beiyu is so dumb. How dare she challenge Shui Meng to the arena? She's going to have a bad ending. Hopefully Shui Meng is lenient with her. How is that possible? What type of people do you think the family of Shui's siblings are? Everyone knows. Shui Meng who stood in the arena had heard everything and raised her eyebrows. Huang Beiyu, if you surrender it's okay. You just need to beg me, then this competition will be off. Surrender? Why should I surrender? Huang Beiyu held her two hands, her tone cold. If this Shui Meng didn't come to find her problem, she wouldn't be going against her so quick. However, since the opponent is already stepping on her head, if she is still able to take it in, she isn't Huang Beiyu then. Watch you cry and beg me later on. Shui Meng humphed. She arranged a gesture. Let's begin. Huang Beiyu also imitated her gesture. Those were all shown by Shui Meng before. You copied it pretty well. Shui Meng said with disdain. She already used the trick she performed before to attack. Her hands were getting close to Huang Beiyu's side when Huang Beiyu turned around and avoided her attack easily. Shui Meng was stunned. Were her moves too slow? This waist is pretty agile. Don't be too proud. Later on, you'll be suffering. Martial arts competition on the stage. 9. Going against a waist. If the battle can't be resolved quickly, her face will be lost. Therefore, after that trick didn't go the way she wanted, Shui Meng increased her speed. Every time she attacked, it was rapid. These simple moves were used to the full potential. This is the advantage of a master. Huang Beiyu responded back with the same moves. She isn't as harsh and quick as Shui Meng, but her moves were connected and flowed. It looked as though it didn't have any power, but only Shui Meng knew that she had almost used 70% of her power and she still wasn't able to even touch a corner of Huang Beiyu's clothes. This led Shui Meng, who was born with arrogance, to be infuriated. In front of a master, if she ate a loss, she couldn't take it already. Not to say in front of a waist. Huang Beiyu, do you know that in an arena life and death doesn't count? I won't be held responsible. Once again Huang Beiyu dodged Xue Meng's moves, which led to her beautiful face to be somewhat distorted. Life and death don't count. Huang Beiyu raised her eyebrows and her eyes flashed over a glimpse of coldness. Life and death don't count. Xue Meng yelled and suddenly changed the way she was attacking. She stopped using the couple of tricks she demonstrated before. Each trick was fast, harsh, and deadly. She aimed for Huang Beiyu's most vulnerable places. The people at the bottom all gasped. What is wrong with Xue Meng? Didn't she say it's just for practice? Why did she make it seem like she was trying to kill Huang Beiyu? Teacher Gui Yuan humphed, Teacher Lei Yuan, you have overbearing students. This is Princess Beiyu's first time coming to the academy and she had never touched martial arts before. Your students like to bully the weak. Teacher Lei Yuan's face was red from being scolded and he thought this was losing his faces too. Originally practicing with someone who didn't learn martial arts before and not being able to gain an advantage is already losing his face. But now Xue Meng had performed harsh tricks which led the whole academy's face to be lost. Plus, Princess Yingyi is standing here watching the battle. Looking at the princess's face had made him unhappy already. Teacher Lei Yuan took a step forward and ordered, Meng Er, just tap her and it's enough. But of course, would Xue Meng, who was already blinded by her anger towards Huang Beiyu, listen to him? She was usually arrogant and didn't like Huang Beiyu. If she didn't beat Huang Beiyu and make her beg, she wouldn't feel satisfied. Huang Beiyu swirled and avoided Xue Meng's force, which she placed on the palm of her hand. Using the dodge, she flashed over to Xue Meng's back and performed a back kick from the demonstration earlier. The body like a 12-year-old was shorter than Xue Meng by a head, but she was able to raise her leg really high. Xue Meng, under shock, turned around and coincidentally, the kick landed on her face, which led her to back up a few steps. She couldn't believe it. She was most proud of her face and yet someone had kicked her there. The strength wasn't too much. Even though she didn't feel the pain, she couldn't accept the truth. She was beaten by a waist. Not only that, it was due to a move that she had performed. How is this possible? Shame, this is a shame. Under the arena, those who had been discussing immediately quieted down. Each one widened their eyes. Like Xue Meng, they couldn't believe it either. Who knew that Huang Beiyu, the waist, was able to perform the basic tricks so proficiently? On top of that, she was able to get a kick on Xue Meng. On her face. Xue Meng was almost stepping into the ranks of intermediate fighters. That waist. Is she really a waist? In the silent practice field, Princess Yingyi clapped her hands and grinned, nice job. Martial arts competition on the stage, 10, Teacher Gui Yuan also laughed, Lei, your martial arts academy hasn't been doing well. Haha. Teacher Lei Yuan was so angry that his face turned green. Originally he wanted to come up and stop Xue Meng. Now, he's not even going to. Humph. Huang Beiyu's just an aristocratic young miss from Imperial College who knew no martial arts. She just had good luck. He didn't believe that she'd keep having good luck. If he had let this Princess Beiyu get her way, then what faces will the Martial Arts Academy have anymore? Xue Meng held her face and slowly fell out of her trance. She glared at Huang Beiyu deadly. That fierce and sinister look in her eyes seemed to want to swallow her whole. Her head buzzed and she comforted herself in her heart that it was an accident. It must be an accident before. In her vision, Huang Beiyu wore a casual riding suit, the petite figure stood tall, and her black eyes were clear. The whole body revealed a real aristocratic temperament. Noble, proud, inviolable. She raised a finger towards Shuemeng. Continue. I'm going to kill you. In Shuemeng's heart, the thought of murder flashed over. She dares to give her shame, this time she won't be lenient. The poor Shuemeng still thought that it's because she hadn't released all her powers, that Huang Beiyu was able to give her shame. If she knew who the young lady in front of her was, she would have killed herself. She threw herself over, the bright green dress seemed to fly, the cuffs dancing. This type of style exposed her beauty when in battle. However, to Huang Beiyu, who had accepted special training starting when she was little, Shuemeng's actions were filled with mistakes. All of a sudden, a glimpse of coldness flashed over Huang Beiyu's eyes. Under Shuemeng's sleeves, she sneakily held a dagger. Huang Beiyu quickly took a step to the side, purposefully not dodging Shuemeng's attack, letting the dagger slash her throat a bit. Under the arena, the audience all gasped. After that, everyone threw a look of disdain towards Shuemeng. This Shuemeng is despicable. The opponent was just using the basic skills that were taught, but she used a weapon trying to kill the other. Everyone knew Shuemeng's personality. She was just using the fact that she had a strong strength and big background, that's why she was able to bully the weak. This Princess Beiyu is definitely unlucky. Shuemeng. How dare you hurt her? Princess Yingyi yelled and walked towards the arena in large strides attempting to stop the battle. Teacher Lei Yuan and Teacher Gui Yuan followed behind. This Shuemeng doesn't know what she's doing. She didn't even look at the opponent's background. Is Princess Beiyu that easy to bully? However, on the stage there followed a dramatic change. Just after Shuemeng slashed Huang Beiyu's throat, she smiled coldly at Shuemeng. Using one foot, she stepped on Shuemeng's long dress and raised one hand out to pull on the streamer of the sleeve. It was still a move that Shuemeng had performed. But when she performed it, it gave people a feeling of shiver and death. Dodge, turn, and the streamer bypassed Shuemeng's neck. The sleeves were tugged open. The dagger that Shuemeng held was exposed in everyone's sight. Shuemeng's eyes flashed over a glimpse of nervousness. But it was too late. Just as the streamer bypassed her throat, along with the sleeves, she had tugged her hand over. To frame and blame someone else. 1. She didn't understand how Huang Beiyu used her strength, but when she wanted to yell out, the dagger had already slashed her throat. The fresh blood immediately rushed out, reflecting her big eyes. The practice field was dead silent, as though the end of the world had come. Although it was bright outside, the practice field had no warmth, like a burst of coldness had spread. Everyone felt their hairs had stood up due to the coldness. Huang Beiyu's hand had still held onto the streamer, and Shuemeng's throat was slit. Her hand was holding the dagger. That sharp dagger which had slit her throat in half. The evil we bring on ourselves is the hardest to bear. She lifted the corner of her mouth coldly and released her hand. Shuemeng's body immediately fell like a broken puppet from the stage. Pang! The bright green dress fluttered and she harshly knocked to the ground. A pool of blood spread out from her body. All the people took a step back. In the first 3 seconds, no one was able to react. The figure on the arena slowly walked to the end. The body elegant, against the light, the facial expressions were dark and can't be seen clearly. Only those black eyes flashed coldly. Outside the practice field, Xueche, who had heard about the arena battle between Shuemeng and Huang Beiyu, had come along with a few other friends to watch the show. He didn't know how the fact that he got insulted by Huang Beiyu in Princess Zhang's prefecture had spread out, which led him to be laughed at by the aristocratic young masters. How can he swallow this shame? His good sister always knew his heart best. Sure enough, this time she can definitely teach Huang Beiyu a lesson for him. Just as he walked into the practice field, there wasn't the expected yelling and screaming. Instead, it was silent. A strange type of silent. No one talked and the air released the type of coldness that made everyone worry. Shueqi didn't know why his heart beat twice harshly. He hurriedly looked towards the arena just in time to see Huang Beiyu stood behind Shuemeng and pulled on the streamer on her sleeves. And Shuemeng's throat was slit in half. That Huang Beiyu released her hand and Shuemeng's body harshly knocked onto the ground. Dead silence. Shueqi was stunned and afterward, the overwhelming distress and anger spread through his body. His sister which he loved very much since childhood was killed. You stupid girl. Go die. Shueqi was extremely aggressive, his eyes on fire, and his face was twisted. He didn't say anything but immediately summoned his rank 11 spirit beast, Red Spider. The Red Spider's body was humongous. Being that the red body suddenly appeared in the practice field, the head almost broke the ceiling. 8 feet of claws moving around. The sharp cold air and the poison flashed on it. The red spider's huge eyes contained a fire and it deeply hummed. This was a martial arts academy. All the people in the academy are those with talent. They didn't even reach the rank where they could be summoners. Even teacher Lei Yuan, who was a warrior, got frightened by the huge red spider. He quickly yelled for the students to run away. Leave now. Quickly go. Princess, please leave now. Teacher Yuan protected the aristocratic young misses to leave. Shueqi, you are going over the line. Princess Yingyi yelled toward Shueqi. To frame and blame someone else, too, Shueqi, you're out of line. Princess Yingyi yelled toward Shueqi. However, Shueqi, who was angry to the maximum extent, didn't hear Princess Yingyi's voice. The huge red spider was moved by Shueqi. Its murderous aura rushed towards Huang Beiyu. Its body's exploding lightning, scaring everyone so much that they ran for their lives. Huang Beiyu, who was on the stage, didn't even move. Her lips tilted up. Shueqi, even you wanted to die. If all of a sudden 2 people were killed from Anguogong's prefecture, what reaction would the old and fat Anguogong have? Last time people were sent to Princess Zhonggong's prefecture to deal with her but failed. He must be looking for another chance to do so. At least to teach a lesson. Anguogong might have given permission to Shuemeng's actions today. People don't bother me, I don't bother them. If people bother me, I will kill them. How about, she continued to give Anguogong another gift. She stood there frozen and the huge red spider, in the blink of an eye, was really close to her. She wanted to summon her ice spirit bird when someone yelled from the crowd. Along with that voice, the windows in the practice field was suddenly broken open. A dazzling red light came out and the feeling of danger filled the space immediately. The dark red flame was like a dragon screaming and the arrogant red spider was smashed out in an instant. In the sound of the red spider roaring, the 2 huge legs were burned and almost turned to gray. Shueqi revealed a terrified look and fell off the red spider. His clothes were burned off half. Royal brother. Princess Yingyi was happy. She sighed. Thankfully royal brother came in just in time. This Shueqi wasn't like Shuemeng. Shueqi was a summoner and he had the rank 11 red spider. In Lingyang College he is counted as a master too. Beiyu wanted to seek an advantage against Shueqi, that is almost impossible. The purple fire unicorn stood on the platform and the super spiritual pressure led the red spider to step back. It didn't dare to even attack. Crown Prince. Shueqi, who trembled and raised his head. Even if he had the rank 11 red spider, he didn't dare to go against the Crown Prince. But his sister, His sister was murdered so miserably. Ah. Crown Prince, you need to bring justice to my sister. Ah. Princess Bei, you committed a crime and killed my sister. Even the heavens can't tolerate this. Ah. Shui fell on the red spider's back and hissed. Sitting on the purple fire unicorn, the crown prince's face was cold. It is the battle on the arena. Life and death don't count. Shui-Chei's eyes were practically about to fall out. She did this on purpose. Huang Bei, you stupid girl. You planned this out to kill my sister. Huang Bei, you looked at him coldly and in disdain. So what if she had planned to kill her? The battle on the arena, life and death doesn't count. This is the rule on Cardi mainland. When coming on the stage, it is best to forget about death. Plan this. Look carefully, she killed herself. Huang Bei, you coldly peered at Shui Meng's bloody body. That dagger was still held in Shui Meng's hand. There is proof. How is it her fault? Shui-Chei looked at that dagger. He felt like someone had twisted a knife into his heart. His body was trembling. What about me? I'm just a new student that just came to Imperial College. Shui Meng is an intermediate fighter. She wanted to practice some tricks with me, but she used a weapon instead. In the end, she is just suffering from her own actions. Who can she blame? To frame and blame someone else. 3. This statement led everyone to think back to what happened before. This Princess Bei Yu from start to end only used the tricks that Shui Meng had demonstrated. But Shui Meng, on the other hand, used skills from being an intermediate fighter. Each trick was harsh. In the end, she even took out a weapon and planned to kill Huang Bei Yu. This led people to look down upon Shui Meng. The opponent was just an ordinary young lady. That Shui Meng was older than Huang Bei Yu and her strength was higher too. She should have been letting Huang Bei Yu, but instead of letting, she became more severe when attacking. Her death, can it be blamed on anyone else? It can only be blamed on herself for her actions. Everyone heard what Huang Bei Yu said is right and nodded their head in agreement. They gossiped lowly about how Shui Meng's methods were fierce and harsh, how she bullied the weak, and how she took advantage of the small. Shui-Chei heard this and his face burned red. So apparently, his sister died. Huang Bei Yu isn't held responsible and is confident, still letting everyone praise her about how smart and flexible she is. Looking at the surrounding people, they all looked at him in disdain, including the friends he had brought over. In Cardi mainland, everyone respected martial arts. They respected masters even more. If a master bullied the weak based on their strength, they will definitely be viewed as despicable by everyone. People like family Shui's siblings are already arrogant in Lingyang College, and it is already proven that they bullied the weak. From the start, there were many people who were angry at their actions. Now they were asking for trouble. Everyone chuckled to themselves in secret. With the Crown Prince Zhang Yi here along with so many people from Lingyang College, no matter how arrogant and angry Shui-Chei is, he had to hold it in. Huang Bei Yu, the death of my sister, I will let you pay the price. Shui-Chei cruelly threatened her. Then he jumped off the red spider's back and carried the remains of Shui Meng in the direction of home. Huang Bei Yu laughed coldly in her heart. He's overestimating his abilities. She wanted it to be like this. She wanted to kill Shui Meng and for the Anghua Gong Prefecture to not be able to find evidence that she had done so. They could do nothing but to glare at her. Princess Yingyi ran up to the stage and asked concerned, "Did you get scared badly?" Huang Bei Yu shook her head. Just that red spider, she dared to say. Even if the Crown Prince Zhang Yi didn't show up on time, that red spider wouldn't dare to attack her. That was a joke. The beast was tamed by her. If it weren't that she purposefully pushed down her imposing manner on the spider, no matter how hard Shuai tried to summon it, the red spider wouldn't dare to come out. She raised her head to the young man on the purple fire unicorn. Adding on to the time in the foggy forest of the ice field, it was the third time he helped her. No matter whether with the status of Shi Tian or Huang Beiyu, she could always see the gentle and caring side of the young man. She doesn't know whether she is lucky or not. Zhang Yi turned around to look at her. The handsome face like usual had no expression. This time was the same. Don't do this again next time. Places like the arena, life, and death cannot be inferred. This time she had good luck. What about next time? She couldn't possibly be lucky all the time. Royal brother, this time it isn't Beiyu's fault. It was Xuemeng who challenged her first. If she didn't accept, this will lead people to laugh at the royal family. In Princess Yingye's heart, her desire to protect the royal family was very strong. She believed that since Huang Beiyu was the daughter of Princess Zhang, they have the same blood. That's why Princess Yingye would view her as her sister. She is straightforward. If she believed in that person, she will be nice to them forever. To frame and blame someone else, for Zhang Ye's face became serious. Accepting the challenge, even if it was accepting the challenge, it shouldn't be on the arena. Princess Yingye moved her neck back. Huang Beiyu spat her tongue at him. Suddenly she had a child's heart. She felt like she was a 12-year-old girl who did something wrong and got scolded by her elder brother. Family love, the first time it had happened in this era. The event regarding the battle in the arena between Princess Beiyu and Xuemeng spread throughout Lingyang College. Xuemeng had a sinister way of doing things. Attempted to hide weapons, and tried to kill someone but ended up paying the consequences. All of a sudden, many people from the school praised Huang Beiyu for the way she does things. Huang Beiyu had also got the reputation for being smart and flexible. This event spread really quick. Once Xiao Yun and Xiao Zhongqi had heard that Xuemeng was killed by Huang Beiyu, their faces changed and they went to find Huang Beiyu. The first day of school, these huge events had happened. The martial arts academy was ruined by the red spider and the purple fire unicorn. Due to this, the school allowed everyone to leave earlier. Therefore, when Xiao Yun and Xiao Zhongqi had arrived at the Imperial College, Huang Beiyu had left already. The two people hurriedly went back home. As soon as they got home, there was a servant who announced, "Eldest young master, young miss, things aren't looking good." The third lady had killed Ongwa Gong's young miss. Right now the lord is mad. The two people had a headache. Well, Xiao Zhongqi thought it was nothing. Xiao Yun and Xueche's engagement was almost decided when this happened. No doubt Ongwa Gong's prefecture wouldn't want her anymore. Huang Beiyu, you should have died. Xiao Yun angrily scolded and took large strides. In the front room of Princess Zhang's prefecture, Xiao Yuancheng tried his best to hold his stomach full of anger and said to Huang Beiyu, "You will go to Ongwa Gong's prefecture and apologize. Whether Ongwa Gong wants you to be a cow or a horse, you'll follow his orders." Huang Beiyu coldly looked at him, her eyes filled with disdain. "Why should I? Why should you? You had killed Xuemeng and aggravated Ongwa Gong. Do you even want our Xiao family to have a place in imperial capital anymore?" Xiao Yuancheng stomped with fury. Looking at Huang Beiyu's indifference, the fury in his heart grew. This stupid girl. She isn't as easy to bully anymore as she was when she was little. He subtly thought she's a fierce and violent wild animal that didn't expose its teeth yet until now. Xiao family. Huang Beiyu slightly raised her eyebrows. She had settled down sitting when she decided to stand up and raised her hand pointing at the door. "Well, I remember that outside the door, the horizontal inscribed board had said, Princess Zhonggong's Prefecture, these 4 words. The emperor had written that himself. What does this have to do with the Shao family? Emperor's brother-in-law, did you get something wrong? Xiao Yuancheng's eyes widened, his face red and whole body trembled. You dash, he was so angry he couldn't speak. Huang Beiyu laughed harshly, mother isn't here. The things that go on in Princess Zhang's prefecture, I will take care of. I will also bear the consequences of aggravating Ongwa Gong. That had nothing to do with the Shao family. No need to worry. Concubine Qin stood up suddenly. Princess Beiyu, what Princess Zhang's prefecture, what Shao family? Everyone here is all a family. We share fortune and misfortune together. Dong Ling, who had been behind Huang Beiyu, smiled. Concubine, you're wrong. Our young miss has the surname of the royal family. Her body has the blood of the royal family. But the lord and the other young masters/misses are different. Although they all live here, their status is all different. The surname is also Shao. About the concubines now. To frame and blame someone else. 5. Dong Ling paused a second and looked at concubine Qin, who had distorted their faces from being so angry, then continued, well, the concubines were not officially wed by the lord. Therefore the names on the lineage wouldn't have the surname Shao. So that can't be described as being a family. You cheap girl. There's no space for you to talk here. Concubine Qin was stabbed by where it hurts. Immediately she threw a slap towards Dong Ling. She still thought that Huang Beiyu and Dong Ling were those useless servants. But she didn't know that Dong Ling knew martial arts from childhood. Zhang Gongzhu had invited teachers over and taught her. In the past, she held it in to protect the young miss. Now she didn't need to anymore. Dong Ling raised her hand and caught concubine Qin's wrist tightly. This girl's strength wasn't small. She immediately grabbed concubine Qin and she cried out for help. Concubine Shui watched on the side, happy with what's going on. Seeing that concubine Qin was being taught a lesson, she was happier than anyone else. Xiang Yuanqing saw and was also shocked. Outside the door came Xiao Zhongqi's angry voice, "Stupid girl. How dare you cross the line?" Like a whirlwind, the figure came in quickly. Huang Beiyu knew that Xiao Zhongqi had some strength and quickly grabbed Dong Lin to her side. Stupid girl. Xiao Zhongqi wasn't ready to let this go. When did he see his mother ever be treated like this? He was the elder in the family and untouchable. He never placed Huang Beiyu in his eyes. Now even the maid of Huang Beiyu dared to touch his mother. How could he let this go? Big brother, what are you doing? Huang Beiyu protected Dong Ling and placed her behind. She raised her head at Xiao Zhongqi, who had held his fist. You don't know how to teach your maids. I'll teach them for you. Huang Beiyu's face was quiet and then she smiled. You hold the status of an advanced warrior and hold the appreciation of the crown prince. In military you also have outstanding military service. The emperor said that he's going to award you. Now you're going to beat up a maid who have no strength at all. What will the military think? What will the crown prince or emperor think? Xiao Zhongqi, who had took large strides, suddenly halted. His face was hesitant. That concubine Qin wasn't dumb either. She knew that her son's future is the most important. Zhongqi, your status doesn't require you to lower yourself down to maids. This statement led Xiao Zhongqi to have an excuse out. He angrily shook his hand and walked over to concubine Qin's side. Xiao Yun walked in and exclaimed, Huang Beiyu, everything that you did today, aren't you afraid that Ongwa Gong will come and take revenge on you? Shui Meng was her friend. Her friend died, naturally she would be upset. What was more important was that once Shui Meng died, her and Shui Che's engagement is probably going to be called off. Even though there's still Xiaoyao Wang, but how could she be willing? I killed the person already. What more would I be scared of? Huang Beiyu looked at everyone in the room. My 2 hands are covered with blood. I won't be afraid to do anything in the future. After this statement, concubine Qin, who was scared, took a step back. These noble ladies, who had seen someone kill and covered with blood. Huang Beiyu stared at them coldly and left with Dongling. After she left, Xiao Yuancheng slammed his fist down on the table. Concubine Qin hurriedly said, Lord, what should we do? The power of Anghua Gong is not to be played with. Even though family Xiao had Xiao old man, but the old man never interfered with Zhang Gongzhu's business. To frame and blame someone else. 6. Xiao Yuancheng was in a rage. But at this moment, he couldn't think of any solution. He could only worry helplessly. My lord, how about we send someone to go to Anghua Gong's prefecture to meet the steward and bring some presents? We can tell him that the person who had killed Meng Shui is Huang Beiyu. It has nothing to do with us. Furthermore, we'll express grief for the death of young Miss Shui. We'll ask him to say some good words about us in front of Anghua Gong to make it seem like we are innocent. Let Anghua Gong look for revenge against Huang Beiyu. This matter doesn't concern us. Concubine Shui is always meticulous and very calculating. Xiao Yuanqing in some aspects heavily relies on her. When he heard her words, he nodded his head. He immediately ordered someone to prepare some gift and go to Anghua Gong's prefecture. Huang Beiyu, who had returned to Flowing Cloud Pavilion, had heard everything. She thoughtfully smiled. They don't want to get involved, is it that easy? She put on the black robe and the black cloak. She told Dongling to be careful at home and she sneaked out. She walked around Buji Air Market, paying particular attention to the restaurant those mercenaries returned to. Yen, can you feel it? Will that Shui Che really come to this place? She frowned as she talked to Yen. The places that mercenaries like to go, it's mostly noisy and chaotic places. She really doubts that Shui Che, who is the son of an aristocratic, will really come. Inside the red spider, it has the smell of the black jade. It's near here, Yen said lazily. Ever since that day she had let him out, Yen felt that his whole body is more comfortable. The past 2 days had been more enjoyable for him. Huang Beiyu pushed open the door of a liquor store. She walked in and swept her gaze across the room. On the second floor, there is a familiar figure, making her narrow her eyes. She took large strides towards that figure. The noisy and chaotic liquor store suddenly became silent upon her arrival. The strong mercenaries who were drinking and exchanging punches immediately turned their head to look at her. Someone grew a big mouth, all the liquor that he had drunk, la dripped down from their mouth. Hualla, crashing sound. To be able to see the person from the legend in such a close range, how can these people not be shocked? On the day of the palace banquet, Shi Tian Darren had defeated Nan Yi country's undefeated general. This news has already spread all over the country. Shi Tian, this name. It has already become the name of the strong. It will soon be spread across the Kardi mainland. Shi Tian Darren. Is there anything I can do? The waiter of the liquor store asked excitedly as he ran up to her. The liquor store is already full to its capacity. She freely walked across to the only place that still had a vacant seat and sat down. She faintly said, "A bottle of purple grape wine." Purple grape wine is one of the most common wine in Nanny country. The wine is strong, rich and mellow. Compared to the bejeweled nectar, that aristocratic drink, it's not comparable. But because it's cheap, it's very popular. Bejeweled nectar, Ambrosia of the Immortals, superb liquor, top quality wine, I told you not to come and bother me. Roll far away. The person across her drunkenly said as he suddenly slammed the table. After he shouted, the people around them turned to look at him. Their eyes contained sympathy. Huang Bei-yu, under the black cloak, coolly said, "Oh. This empty seat, I can't sit." I said no, that man suddenly lifted his head. His face showed that he was completely drunk. He looked at the mysterious black cloak and was suddenly stunned. His throat gurgled. For a while, he wasn't able to speak. "I apologize for disturbing you." Huang Bei-yu stood up and pretended to leave. Shi Tian Darren. His drunken brain suddenly awakens and became clear. Shueche quickly walked out, reverent and respectfully, said, "You can sit, please sit. Please sit." You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.